are. Another Monday.
I almost shaved my head. I tried to shave my head, but I couldn't do it.
You tried to shave your head?
I thought about it. I thought it'd be a really funny surprise to be like, whoop, but no, I couldn't do it.
If you pulled that off and you like rocking a mohawk or something, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I just couldn't do it to myself.
That'd be fun. Here we are on Monday night. Full 42. We are joined by you're going to become honorary co-host at some point with the amount of times you're being on. Which we lied last time. Remember, I was like, I think this was your 5th.
Yeah, I was way more than 5.
It's like this is your 9th.
Yeah, I think I'm almost double digits.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I think I should have like a status change. Like you have the dark designer. Like I think if people in the chat throw some suggestions of what my title could be, maybe I can level up a little.
Yeah, I mean, you do have access to a second thing there if you want to.
I'm not worthy yet. I'm saying like.
Oh, gotcha. So the next show you're on, you get a subtitle.
I hope. I mean, that's up to you and Chris. Said.
I think that makes sense. I think let's see what the chat comes up with, and the next show, you'll have a thing underneath. That makes sense. Howdy, everyone. Wayne, good to see you. Steven, as always, thank you for telling us when we can go on. Alan, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. That is not Chris. So Chris is melting in the Texas heat. It's probably 110 degrees there, even though it's 8 o'clock is fake time right now.
That's gross.
Kabuki, great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Texas is just melting away into the Gulf. So hey, Di, long time no see.
It's like the opposite here. It was like chilly outside.
Oh, it's beautiful today. I had both the doors open, like nice. Yep. Good stuff.
I actually ran and had a quick hot tub before this because it was just like the weather was perfect.
I believe it. When we talked earlier, I thought you were gonna. When you called, I thought you were gonna be in the hot tub.
I almost was. I
believe it. All right, so tonight we have we're gonna go over the same thing that Chris and I did with Gen Con. We're gonna go over the Essen preview. BGG has their Essen preview up. There's 550 games, English only. We're gonna go through the English only ones. There are some that we talked about for the Gen Con release, we'll hit again. Yep. And we'll just go through it. I also asked Daryl to come up with, because Daryl's been there how many times now?
That's a good question. I was trying to figure this out. I think I'm coming up to my 6th, I think.
So you've been on the show more than you've been to Essen.
I think so. Maybe.
Wow.
Well, I'll save it for when we get into it. But I originally got to go as a mule.
Right. I remember that.
So I'll tell this. But so really, I think I've only been 5 times from a freedom standpoint. But I'll talk about being a mule, and then the rest of the times.
Okay. So since Daryl's been there, I figured it would be interesting to find out what Daryl's top 5 or top-ish do's and don'ts.
Oh, I have 5 and 5 do's and don'ts.
Oh, you do have top 5.
Top 5 do's and top 5 don'ts.
Cool. I know Steven, I believe, is going. And I don't know if it's Steven's first time or 6th time, but maybe some of the things you have to say about what to make sure you're doing or what to make sure you're not doing, either pre-going or while you're there or packing up and leaving. So I thought it would be interesting to pick your brain a little bit about the do's and don'ts for that. And then we'll rock into the list of games that are releasing at Essen, English versions only. You do not want to hear me try and pronounce German names of games. So we took those off the list. Although currently, and there are still 6-ish weeks until Spiel, there's total over 750, I think 749 titles on that list right now, and it's going to grow over the next couple of weeks. So
I would not be surprised if it at least doubled. So that's how early we are, and also how last minute people are about what's going to be there.
That's bonkers. So it is Steven's first time. So
yeah,
cool,
awesome.
All right, let's do the like and subscribe thing. while you're here. Click the bell. Hit the thing. Oh, can I find it? There it is. Boom. Yeah. So do that while you're here, and then let's go into announcements. No, sadly, this year I'm not going to Essen. Not this year, which is, I mean, it's kind of good because I got QSCon stuff. It's going to drive me nuts for the next 4 weeks, and then I'm going to want to sleep for another 4 weeks after that. So, what do you got? You got anything to announce? You got any announcements? Things happening?
Well, I mean, I guess the big one that coming out of Gen Con was my Donald Duck game. I'm very excited about that. And so I even shamelessly wore my Moods of Donald shirt.
Very nice. Very nice.
And it's a double wink because I also saw Donald Glover last night because I went to the Childish Gambino concert.
That's right. How was the concert?
It was awesome. So
nice.
So working the double Donald reference right there.
I like it. It's a reference within a reference.
You know what? Oh boy, here it begins. Oh no, Mike controls which comments come on screen. Mm-hmm. Alan is in cahoots with Mike. I want to be at QSCon. I'm trying, but no announcement at this point. It's a little hectic.
There is no cahoots. It just came up. I didn't bring it up. Yeah. I do want to point out though that Alan is coming all the way from Costa Rica.
Alan, of course you show me up. Of course.
Right. And you're like right around the corner.
I'm just down the street. I'm just
down
the
really down the street. Right.
I want to be there. If I go, Alan, we'll play a game together. I'm trying to figure it all out.
Daryl just needs to ride. Daryl just needs to ride.
Someone from the Toronto area is going and is willing to have a carpool. I have a few people I'm going to ask, so we'll see what we can do.
All right, cool. Sam, good to see you. I mean, I agree with you.
Hey, I will say you'll probably play more games. You'll play more games at QSCon than anyone will at Essen, so.
It's a lot less chaos, too. Who was I talking to? I was talking to Niels. 230,000 people go to Essen.
Yeah. And you feel it.
Yeah, bonkers. All right, what else you got?
What else is happening? A couple other announcements I had over Gen Con were Gulu is I'm on the team restoring that with Kramer and crew. I've been doing some work with Wolfgang Kramer, so that's coming out with Pandasaurus. They revealed kind of an early cover for it, so that's exciting. And then they hinted at another one, which I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this, but this is the perks of being on the show. But I'm also doing Hacienda remake with Pandasaurus.
Oh, nice.
They winked at it. I'm sure they showed someone at Gen Con that blabbed. And if not, I'll blame someone else.
Sure, blame someone else. Don't blame us. You'll be fine.
So those are a couple remakes I'm really excited about. And then Ley Lines is supposed to drop at least a preview copy at Essen. So that I don't even know if it's on the Essen list. We'll find out when we go through.
We'll find out for sure.
And that's with Arcane Wonders. So.
Right. Good old Rob.
Yeah.
I spent the most at Rob's booth at Gen Con.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my purchases. Yeah, I think I spent a little bit more somewhere else, but yeah.
Yeah, there was some, not only with the new stuff that came out from Arcane, but there were games right up near the register on the side that I had just never heard of before the art was beautiful. Gameplay looked really good. So I picked up a bunch of stuff, but he definitely caught me at that booth this year. All right, what else?
Man, you just keep saying that, and I'm like, I feel like I got to fill the void, but
you don't have to. I just, it's a stage. It's a presence. If you have something to say,
it's good. No, you know what? Stuff will come out over the rest of the show, I'm sure.
All right. Well, how about I have a question for you then.
Okay.
What's next from Maestro? What's going on?
Okay, Maestro. Well, if you see, for anyone who's familiar with Binding of Isaac, that's their They're hot seller, and they just are in the last stages of a big promo summer of Isaac. They have a big sale coming up, and so there's like a Labor Day sale. I think on the 21st, I want to say. Yeah, I think on Wednesday, Edmund, who's the designer of the video game and the board game and everything, is doing a live stream. So check that out. Edmund's awesome, crazy talented creator. And and then they have things like Hello Kitty, Smurfs. Streamer Standoff just landed it and is like on Walmart online and places like that. I think for like $20, which is a killer deal. Dr. Lupo Streamer Standoff, co-designed with our friend Bobby West.
Bobby.
And Jeb Havens, a couple of wonderful humans that are also talented designers. So for $20, you can get a fun game from them. What else is on the horizon for Maestro? Yeah, the Smurfs board game. Hello Kitty.
What about the other Smurfs thing? I don't know if everybody knows.
Yeah, Smurfs RPG is coming to Kickstarter September 10th, which is soon. That's real soon. That's like a couple of weeks, it feels like. So yeah, I think it's actually gonna be like a surprise, because every time someone goes Smurfs RPG, I'd try that. So yeah, you make yourself a Smurf, and they're all one-offs, and there's a bit of a campaign mode included as well, but it's all bite-sized, and it's all like, you don't have to have tons of experience. You don't need to know 5e and all the rules. Easy character creation. It's co-designed. Kevin and John Gilmore are the creators. So obviously it's awesome. And right now final art's getting done for the Kickstarter campaign. I just saw some previews for the page actually over the weekend, which look really cool. Jason Azevedo from Realmsmith is helping lead the charge on that and gathering some guest writers. So can't say who those are yet, but there's some pretty cool people.
What about for those that don't know, if they go to Kickstarter and look up the Smurf RPG and follow, there's a certain promotion going on.
Yeah, there is. I forget the details, but all I know is if you back, I think, again, if I'm misquoting, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure if you back in the first 24 hours, you actually can get the board game for free.
Yep.
So, which is crazy, because it's like a $40 game, and it's really high quality. I was just looking at print samples because we're already in the final stages of that. So the neat part is that you could back the RPG, which is scheduled to come out in February, but you could have something before Christmas. If you back it in the first 24 hours, you can also get the board game, because the board game is going to be out before Christmas. So treat yourself or someone else to a board game over Christmas while you wait for your RPG.
And I can attest to the board game. I played it when I was up visiting you last. It's so cool. It's very inviting, and the idea is you're working cooperatively to try to like quell Gargamel and Azrael and all the negatives that are happening. But while you're gathering resources, you're playing the right Smurfs. With some of them come with benefits, and some of them come with like noisy Smurfs going to make a little bit more noise than the others. So there's like some detriments to playing the wrong Smurf at the right time.
Yeah.
But then you're building the houses, and the way that the house builds, and you put the mushroom top on. It's a lot of fun. So, and the Smurf RPG, if you have the right crew to be able to play in that world and just use the word Smurf constantly through, like actually get into the character, that's a really cool combination that they're doing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's been fun to see. When I joined Maestro, obviously I had a hit with Binding of Isaac, but now, they're making all kinds of cool licensed products. And so, and in a time where, our expectations are higher than ever. And so that's good. Like, we're getting good games with licenses instead of, when I grew up, the licensed games were horrible, but they were cool stuff in the box. But, it's nice to live in a world now where we can get good games with cool stuff.
Right. Yeah, I still have some of my old stuff that's not. A little bit of nostalgia with like Fireball Island, but my Indiana Jones Milton Bradley game is leaves much to be desired. Or my Ewok Village game. Like, it was cool for the time, but now it's not necessarily fantastic.
We should just make new house rules and then try to pitch remakes.
I'm good with that. I got a couple. I'll bring a couple up next time I come up there.
Do it.
All right, so there's that. That's cool. I like the Smurf thing. Look into that. That's that getting the free board game for it, and then having that RPG gatherings, right? Depending on holiday stuff or birthdays or just whatever barbecues, like just to rock a one-off in the Smurf world. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was shocked they were willing to do it, but they said they really wanted a big first 24 hours. So, they said sometimes companies like send lots of copies to like all the reviewers or whatnot. This was our thought of like, hey, let's get them out to fans and do it in a fun way to promote the RPG. So hopefully it works. If it works, then more campaigns, maybe we'll do it.
So you set the precedent. Cool. On my end, I have Luca's painting. We'll do a Luca painting again tonight. Yeah. I still want to say some stuff, and I don't know if I can, but this fall, if things are going the way they seem to be going, you and I'll have a game on crowdfunding together, and then the one with Van Ryder and Keith and Bobby, who you mentioned earlier, that'll be going at almost the same time. And then 3WS is dropping Canvas Critters, which will be this fall. So the end of this year could really start fires. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how the end of this is going to end. Like, the end of the year is going to go out with a bang for sure. And then yeah, it's going to be super fun. All right, so moving along.
Painting time.
I know. There's this guy.
Woohoo.
Who is really, for those that don't know, an artist. Her name is Bianca. She's working on Coral Gardens for us. She was at Gen Con this year. It was cool to catch up with her because I met her 2 packs ago, and then she helped us out in the booth at Gen Con last year. She's the one that did that art of Luca. But for those that don't know, Luca is approaching 3 years old. In November, he'll be 3. However many months he is right now, I don't know. He'll be 3 in November. And since 2 Decembers ago, he has been doing watercolor paintings. And every Monday, I show off a different one. I think this is the 76th or 77th one that I've shown off. He's up over 300 of them now. But we show off one, and then we ask everybody, like, kind of like a Rorschach Rorschach test. What do you see in it? How demented are you? And this will be today. So he made this one today.
Bum, bum, bum.
And this is Luca's painting for this evening.
Ooh. Okay. Do I say, or do we wait for the chat?
Well, there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, I don't want to inception anything or tell people, but I have a pretty strong feeling on what I see.
Okay, I believe it. I also see mine. This one is not labeled. He did not label this one. He has been calling it something, which has tainted my view of it because then I see what he's doing. But he hasn't called this one today, so I have my own opinions on it as well.
Okay. Yeah, I won't be swayed by the chat. So people, Dave said what I was feeling. Yeah, I definitely see a hot air balloon.
Okay.
The balloon, I wonder if people will say, I understand the grimace. I'm not the grimace on this one. Pull down mask. Ooh, wow. Interesting. Dang. Yeah, wow. Purple ear. I agree with that full-heartedly. Yeah. Murder weapon. Okay. It's dark already.
Hey, Scott. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah,
thanks for tuning in. Yeah, that's dark. Little roadkill.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the dark one I saw in the chat. That was like, dang, that got scary.
All right, so Dye's rabbit. The purple ear is the rabbit.
See, I see a purple ear, but I don't see a rabbit as much. I see like a cat face or even like a deer face with like that's like the inside of the ear versus the other brown one's more the outside of the ear. So that's why you're seeing like the purplish
Right.
versus the outside's more. The eyes are there, kind of like a tongue. So that's the balloon, and then the silhouette is the basket for the air balloon. I see that.
Yeah, I see the basket. I see the hot. I didn't see the hot air balloon until you mentioned it. Smeared
America. Wow, I should have saw that. I mean, I just saw Childish Gambino, so this is America.
Interesting.
Deer or cat, right? I like that other people are seeing it because I'm always afraid. Like when I'm in the chat, I'm like, I can see it and not feel bad, but then like I always think when you guys are on here, if someone's like, nah, don't see it at all. I'm like,
sometimes it's a little weird, for sure. Sometimes it's a stretch.
You're like, I see a silhouette of a man.
Yeah. So in the middle there, the red.
Yeah.
I see a phoenix or a falcon or something.
Whoa.
Right, like that would be its head.
Okay.
And this would be one of its wings and the other wing here, and it's flying this way.
Dang.
But I can't unsee an Italian clown.
Italian clown?
I just see like this mustache with this grimace and the squinting eyes, and then the ears, like when the clown has the like the hair that's parted, and then like its bow tie is down here.
Okay. Italian clown.
That's what I saw when I was painting it. And
why is it Italian? What are you saying about Italian clowns?
No, I see like Mario, like a Mario.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily Mario because he's got that huge nose. But I just see like the cartoonish Italian with the squinty eyes and the big mustache.
Okay. I get it. It's the third brother that no one talks about. There's Mario and Luigi. What's this brother's name?
It's gotta be Albert.
Alberto.
Yeah. So Mario, Luigi, and Alberto. Yep, that's what I got. So that's today's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Luca.
He did 2 today. The other one is back there, but I'll save that for another day. Oh, you see what I have back here?
Ooh, so fancy.
Also for Chris.
Props.
Yeah, still sealed. Haven't opened it yet. We'll take a look at that soon. All right. So moving along, we talked at the top of the show, and what the show is about is a preview of Essen. Essen is in Germany. Spiel takes place in Essen. It is not called Essen. It is called Spiel. Correct?
Which just means translates to game.
So, right.
It's a horrible name.
Right, so, but Essen is the city that it takes place in.
Everyone calls it Essen, but it's actually Spiel. But yeah, everyone knows what's happening.
Right.
So
it is the biggest one. Yeah, isn't that cool? The glow. He's got it right in the light perfectly, doesn't he?
A little shimmer.
I like that he's got that. I'm wearing the shirt for you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, so it's the biggest. So we just came off Gen Con a couple weeks ago, and that's the biggest one in the country. And they announced that it was 72,000 ish.
Yeah, because they measure them differently. So one does turnstiles, one does unique badges.
Right.
So they always are hard to really figure out. But I think it's the consensus that Essen is the biggest.
Right.
And that for sure Gen Con's the biggest in North America, or the Americas in general. But who knows? Maybe they even overtake each other once in a while, but they're huge. They're both big.
I like that they broke records at Gen Con 50 with 75,000 attendees. And then this year they broke all the records again, but they were at 73,000 attendees. Which Gen Con, we can talk about all the things with Gen Con. But yeah, Gen Con is the biggest in the country. Essen is the biggest in the known universe. And when I was talking to a few people at Gen Con this year, it was over 220,000 people over the length of the con. And it's very, from what I understand, is very family oriented. It's definitely gaming over there is completely different than gaming, not completely different, but different enough over there than it is over here. Like you can find games in your supermarket, like over there.
Yeah, it's a real surprising atmosphere change. I mean, one of my favorite ways to describe the difference is, and I feel okay saying this, at Gen Con, there's a lot of dudes that look like me that are like beards and white and big guys. And so maybe it's like a 50-50 of dudes that look like me and other at Gen Con. But I actually feel like a minority at Essen. Like it is a wonderful, beautiful mix of international, of age differences, gender. Like it's fun to walk up and like while you're in the line, you're maybe like behind a couple and then behind like a grandparent and a grandkid, and just everyone's there celebrating games. And it's just culturally something you do. It's just like, hey, like we're out here maybe just checking out Christmas gifts, or we just like games. But like you said, like you could go into kind of the grocery store or like their equivalent of a general store and find games, and often find games in like tiny versions too, like a Catan, but it's in a small box because they're just finding shelf space everywhere.
It's amazing. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's interesting that the different areas of the world have this different culture in gaming, right? Like Japan and China have a certain culture with the small box games for reasons and stuff you'll never, like, hardly ever see. Yeah. And there's stuff at Essen that comes out that we may never know about because it needs some sort of North American distribution or some English version or licensing or whatever. There's always stuff that I see. I remember when Brian Yu had Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunt, Geister, Schatzmeister. Yeah. And that came out the first time. And I was watching the BGG from Essen.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I had to get myself a copy. You almost never know if it's going to make its way over here.
It took years. It took a number of years for an English version of that game. And that was award winning. So it even shows some games will get picked up. Some companies will be able to turn them around really quickly, but there's a shocking amount of things that just will never come over, or they'll come over many years later. And the same is true the other way. There are definitely North American games. I mean, I even think of something like Quirkle. Quirkle came out in North America, and it was like 5-6 years later, it hit the German scene. And then I think it even became a nominee for the Spiel. And people were like, how's that possible now? And it was because, well, the Spiel des Jahres, not to be confused with the Spiel convention, because they are actually not related. It's just the word Spiel means game in German. But yeah, that was on the scene in Germany, had a German translation, and then all of a sudden was eligible to be considered for the award. So actually, the Spiel does do their own award, and they do a bunch of coverage. So media and such, like the day before the convention starts is a media day. And I have wrangled my way into that before, kind of snuck my way in. And that's been really interesting. They do kind of presser rooms where they'll have, which I think is really smart. I don't know why other conventions don't do this, but they'll have a whole room of games just set up next to each other. Bang, 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 bang. Of like whatever's the top game for like each publisher. And it becomes like a real incredible way for, media to come in and just take a few photos, like bang, bang, of kind of the new hotness and what will be kind of the star games of the show. Kabuki has a question.
Also, Brandon, good to see you. Thanks, buddy.
The funny part is that game doesn't. The gameplay of Quirkle is not language dependent, but the rulebook. So that scenario was just the packaging and the rulebook alone. But it didn't. They have pretty strict rules on the Spiel des Jahres that it has to have been distributed in German in Germany. So that's kind of where they have to draw a line somewhere in the sand. And so that was where they said, like, it needs to be commercially available to the people of Germany for an award that is given out in Germany, which, some games will just never have a German version. And so then they'll never even be eligible.
Right. I remember it was last year or the year before, there was a game that was nominated. I'm not sure if it won, that had been out in the US for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And it was nominated because it was finally printed in German. And that's the qualifier for it.
Yep. Yeah. So, Yeah, fun times. So yeah, should we jump into the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so I asked Daryl, and I'm sure questions come up if you have,
Yeah.
especially Steven, because I know you're going for the first time. If
Yeah, and I think Scott is going for the first time too, who's in the chat.
Oh, Scott, you're going over to Essen?
I could be
Nice.
wrong on that one.
Is that why you're not coming to QSCon, Scott?
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm going to defend all the people that might have to miss QSCon this year. I will be there. But well, Essen's tough to juggle as well.
Sure. Nice. Yeah, so I figured. I mean, I'm always curious about stuff and the way things work from my own convention perspective. Dice Tower Con, which both of us have been to, and the Gathering.
Together.
That's a lot of the stuff that I pulled from Dice Tower Con. Yeah, we stayed in that suite.
Awesome.
Oh, I'll never forget when I got the phone call from the hotel a couple days after. I tried to get it. I'm like, the guy's like, "Did you leave anything in the hotel room?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I leave in the hotel room?"
A printer.
I'm like, "I don't think I did." And he's like, "You sure? It was pretty big." I'm like, "Oh my God, like what was it?" And he's like, "Well, I can't tell you. You have to tell me." I'm like, "I have no idea." And I left a day or two earlier, and you and Adrian were there, so I had to get you on the board. I'm like, "Dude, what did you?" I thought the room was trashed. Like I had
dead body. We threw a party, you know.
Yep. And it turned out it was a fucking printer.
Yeah, we had to do some prototyping, and it worked out mathematically cheaper for us to buy a printer with the ink in it and print prototype stuff than it was to just get the printing done. So we bought a printer and then left in the room. We told the cleaning staff, anyone who wants it, like free printer. It was a nice printer. But
you want to say hi to Daryl? No. Here, come here. Say hi. We just looked at your picture. Say hi.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need a title for it.
Yeah. What did you name this? What is this called?
What do you name this for your artwork?
What is it?
An owl.
An owl?
Owl. Okay.
There you go.
You saw the bird in there, so
it's an owl. Good job, buddy.
Now we know.
Thank you. Yeah, so I love learning about conventions, and what better way to learn about a convention than from someone who's been there. So I asked Daryl to give us a little overview of maybe some stuff that are do's and don'ts, things to prepare for, things to make sure you're not doing or you are doing, especially since it's a different country and different style of stuff, the way the convention's set up, how to manage your time. So I figured questions will come up. So if you have any questions, I'll pull them up into the screen, and then let's let Daryl take over for a little while.
All right. So do you want the 5 don'ts or the 5 do's first?
However you want to do it. Maybe go back and forth.
Okay. I don't have them in any particular order, but I'll function through them 1, 1, 2, 2.
As typical full 42 top 5s, I don't put any of mine in order anyway, so yeah, it's perfect.
I get it. I gotta be a little chaos, right?
Love it.
All right. Number 1, do, or if you can, and it's not always possible, is try to stay in the city. It's weird to say this, but it is actually very typical for people to not be able to find a room in the city of Essen, and they will stay in peripheral towns. There is lots of trains, and it helps connect everything. The problem is a lot of the trains that leave Essen stop at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and so you'll miss out on a lot of the experience if you have to stay outside of Essen. The nice thing is there's a great metro connection that goes to the convention center and goes right into the city. So you can use the metro and just get a pass for the whole time. It used to be included in your ticket. So I always check each year just to make sure I don't get in trouble. But it's cheap. It's affordable. You just walk on, you walk off. You don't scan it, nothing. It's just, but you don't want to, cheat the system. So pay your, whatever it is, $10, $20 for the pass. And it's really convenient. It's actually almost too convenient, which I didn't even put this on my list. But if you're really close, just walk it because the metros will be full. If you're in one of the last spots before, just walk it, because I have stood and watched 8 or 9 metros go by where they were like so full. People are like falling out the doors every time they open the doors. So, but yeah, don't stay outside the city. But if you stay really close, just walk back and forth. And it's odd. There is almost no hotels right at the convention center. So it is not like Gen Con where there's 10 hotels all connected. There's 0 hotels connected. The closest hotel, I'll say their name once, but I loathe them, is the Atlantic Hotel. They did not give me a refund, so it's not even on my list, but don't stay at the Atlantic. They offered me a 5% return the year during COVID, because you used to have to pay a year in advance just to get into that hotel because it's the closest. And all of us, with the exception of one human that I know sued them, didn't get any of their money back. So there's nothing super close by. You gotta walk a little bit. So anyways, that's my number one do. It's worth it. It's stay in the city, get an Airbnb. There's a lot more options and different price points, so you can find what you can do. I've heard great things about Motel 1. I'm actually staying at a new hotel this year. I used to always stay at the Sheraton, but it's always a little pricey, so I'm staying at where am I staying? Let me look. I don't know. It's one of the Marriotts because I love my points. But
you're staying at the Marriott? No.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
I would never guess.
Always get those Bonvoy points. All right. So my number one, or well, not in any particular order, but jump into the don'ts. And this sounds obvious, but don't forget to keep your passport up to date and check it ahead of time. My friend Amanda McKnight, her passport expired, and we found that out the day before we were leaving for Essen. And to say the least, she missed her flight, and because she was waiting for an updated passport, she incredibly still made it to Essen, just a little late. But yeah, that happens. So check your passport, check the dates. Now I say this and watch, I'll be expired first myself, but just it's a different country, so you gotta make sure that you got an applicable passport. So there's my don't. Going back to the do's.
That's true.
And this is again another one. And there, Scott's given some good tips there too. So like, it needs to be up to date. You can get a new passport within like 6 months of expiry. So don't wait till that last minute.
Yep.
I will give Amanda a little bit of an out. It was the first after COVID, so a lot of us hadn't been using our passports or thinking about that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you assume it's all good to go, and you pull it out the night before while you're packing, and those things happen. So check your passport. Another do, which is unusual for a con, and it's one of my favorite things, is you can buy food and drinks in the hall that are reasonably affordable. They're not cheap, but it's good. There's some good food and good snacks, and you can. My favorite thing is a shout out that you must do is the spiral potato. It is a stick with a potato that's literally shaved thin and in a spiral on the stick and deep fried, and then they shake like paprika and yummy things on it, and those are amazing. So that's my favorite do, is make sure, and they're mixed in. The main spot to get them is there's a number of halls, but there is a main middle hallway, and that main middle hallway has a bunch of kind of like food stalls and food trucks, and then there's more even when you go outside of that door. But they also have cafes strategically located throughout the different halls that you can sit down and order food and take a breather. So I highly recommend doing that, keeping yourself hydrated and sustenance. So that would be my number 2 do. Similar but different on the don't side. Yes, it's good to take a breather and take a sit down in one of the cafes, but don't hog a table. And specifically, don't hog a demo table. This is actually kind of a cultural difference, but there are definitely a lot of people that will sit down for a demo and sit there for an hour or two and just play the game in completion and ask to be taught the next game and the next game and not leave a booth. That drives me nuts. So please don't be those people. Sit down, take a breather, learn the game. That's exciting. Then get up and let someone else learn it for 15, 20 minutes. Take a few turns. You don't have to play the whole game to completion. Buy it and then go play it later in your hotel room. So there's this weird mix of at Essen they don't have the play halls. They don't have the space where you can just play games. And the idea is like in the hall you can see demos and shop, but all the gaming is actually after hours. So my suggestion is don't hog the demo table. Buy the game if it seems interesting, and then go play it in the evening or even in the daytime. You're going to have lots of availability, but go take it back to your hotel or find a hotel lobby where people like to play games, which is all.
How does that work with the after hours playing if there's no hotel around the hall?
Yeah, everyone goes away. So it's weird, but the hall will literally close. And then after the hall is closed, you can't get back in. You can't use that space. One nice thing is that like people working the booths actually can like be off. And then usually there are certain hotels that become kind of the hot spots to play games. For instance, I mentioned the Atlantic. That becomes a bit of a hotbed for like French speaking, which I go, okay, sorry, but I'm out. But like Motel 1 is an example of where a lot of English speaking gaming happens. And so everyone kind of finds lobbies and hotel space and even hotel rooms and just plays a lot of games.
Is that true?
What is it?
I didn't aren't necessarily demos, that they're actually full.
So that's the thing. There is a bit of a cultural difference there and just a vibe. The booths are not getting mad at people or forcing people out. I'm suggesting as a friendly consumer, like let the tables adjust, let more people see it, because the reality is like if everyone plays the game in full length, like my frustration or worry is like not more people will see it, and I want more people to see the game. So like also like support the booth by just, if you already liked it a few turns in, buy it. I mean that's probably a good sign of a good purchase. So that's where I say like they might be okay with it, but I'm saying a tip is like just because I'm not pushing you off the table doesn't mean you couldn't move forward.
Hey Derek, your room for QSCon, could you who's with you? Who's staying? I want Daryl to know who else is coming.
Oh my goodness. Just rubbing in all the people that are going. I want to be there.
Wait till you see that all-star list.
I love Derek. So Derek's one of my favorite humans. You talking about Hawaiian brother?
Yep.
Oh man. Oh brother.
Oh, there's someone else.
Oh, you're killing me. And Evan, Derek, awesome humans. Yep. Awesome humans.
Yep. They are stellar humans, and they will be here. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, let me jump to my number 3 due for Essen.
Okay.
And this one is again something that I think is, you're fine, Derek. You
don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I've been busting his balls almost all night.
A really fascinating thing that Essen has done, and if they've stopped, please tell me in the comments, because I've been utilizing this for the last few years now, is they have an incredible coat check where you can actually not only bring your coat, you can bring luggage. And they will hold your luggage, and you have in-out privileges all day for something cheap like €5. And it's incredible, because then as you're shopping, you can go to the coat check, put them in your luggage, and then like you're not carrying stuff. So you can keep walking around and enjoying yourself. And whenever you want to leave, or if maybe you want to go like after a few hours, you want to pop back to the room, you can go to coat check, take your stuff using your luggage onto the metro, drop stuff off, bring it back, and use it all day. You could even use that as a nice little like locker moment. Like you want a fresh shirt, or you want, some deodorant, whatever, becomes like your little hideaway spot from some
nice
all day endurance. So coat check is a miracle worker,
nice.
Which I think is an awesome do.
Nice Ghostbusters reference. This is Evan. Evan, after the Empire, Evan.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Yep, he'll be there. That's cool.
Amazing.
And I agree. It's going to be lit.
Number 3, don't forget to purchase promos. There's a lot of little promos for games. I mean, I'll use like this because I actually got them at Gen Con. I was surprised, but it makes me think of it. But for instance, Windmill Valley for Board and Dice had these great promos, and it made me think these things are always available at Essen. I rarely see these kind of things, or they're becoming more prominent at Gen Con, but there's so many that just never make it to North America. And so one of my tips is, especially if you're thinking about a game, you know the game's going to come over, maybe just buy the promo in case, because the promo might not come over. So pick up and they're luggage friendly. So pick up lots of promos, even maybe pick up a few because friends might want some. They're usually reasonably priced. It's a nice little gift for people, €5 or something. And it's like a fun little thing to show someone that you're thinking about them. Cool little Christmas gifts, you can stick them on a card. So I recommend, don't forget to purchase the promos, especially for games that might come later, but you never know if the promos will.
That's a good idea, because those are usually the ones that they're printed like 400 or 500 and not thousands like some of them, and then the game becomes popular. It's really hard to find some of that stuff.
Yeah, and they become hard to find, or they never make them again. And it's part of the excitement. So maybe you'll get that game, but pick up that promo at least while you're thinking about it. Don't forget that. There are so many promos that I saw that I didn't pick up, and afterwards I was like, I should have at least got that.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Number 4 for dues, and this is going to sound unwise, but it is a tip that I learned actually from my muling days. So I'll share what I mean by my muling days. Yeah, every year Carcassonne has a bunch of promos, and rarely do they come over. So I'm almost by default, I always get those promos. My wife's a huge Carcassonne fan. I am too. So those are a must grab, and they do fun stuff too. Carcassonne, they'll have like a bag or coasters or Christmas ornaments or you name it, something that's pretty fun. But yeah, so
this year they're going to give out cease and desist letters to everybody with meeples on their shirts.
Hey, I'd still buy that. Mm-hmm. I'd buy that cease and desist. My tip for a do, number 4, is chase down what seems to be hot first. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to shop in Hall 1 today and Hall 2 tomorrow. And no, you got to zigzag. You got to run around. You got to look through, like we're going to do with this list, figure out what's hot, and then go for those things that you don't want to miss out because they do sell out. Gen Con's getting better at this, where people will say like, oh, I got 100 each day. Rarely does that happen at Gen Con. No, I find more often than not just that slap on the sign, sold out, and that thing's just gone. Like they wheeled in X amount. They don't have extra storage anywhere. And so what you see when that pile disappears, it's gone. And a few times it can work in your favor because someone might put something in the wrong spot. If you see it, and it's the last one. I did that with, what's that? It's got the fox on the front of it, and it was Wilderness Forest Shuffle.
Forest Shuffle, yeah.
Forest Shuffle, sold out sign. I walked in. They had a few different languages, and there was one English mixed in. And I was like, whoop, score. Nice. Not nice. Fox in the Forest, another great game. But yeah, no, shuffle, Forest Shuffle. And so just you see it, grab it, and go for the things you really want, even though it's inefficient. I learned that the very first year I went. I'll tell the quick version of it, but I was a mule. I got hired by, I won't say where, but a convention that happens shortly after Essen, and their whole thing is that they want to get all the Essen games they can. So they gave me a list of 250 unique titles in a priority order, and I was the sole shopper. They did pre-order some of the games. I want to say like 30, 40 of them. and my goal was to haul those to Seattle. And yeah, that was a real treat. I had to punch every game, baggy, label them, fit them into 4 luggage, and then mail the boxes from the post office and on a skid that we had arranged, and then reassemble them. You don't want that job, Scott. This is what I found out. This is my first time going to Essen, and I thought that they paid for me to go. They were super generous. They put me into the Atlantic, the nicest, closest hotel. Yeah, Derek knows, because Derek, I'm pretty sure I recruited. I had a team of people that helped me. They were crazy generous. Derek, Odd Hack Welder, T, a ton of people spent hours. We're talking many hours in my hotel room just punching games. And I canceled every meeting I scheduled because I never had enough time. I spent the entire time shopping because, especially, like, say you get enough big boxes and you fill a luggage, what are you going to do? So I'd race back. I would literally pay for a taxi, even though I was at the closest hotel. I'd pay for a taxi to drive me, drop off stuff, tell the taxi driver, stay here, just unload the boxes onto my hotel bed, race back, go back to the hotel. And I would then bring 2 suitcases, 3 suitcases, trying to, like, be able to get enough. And finally, Sunday, like, late morning, I got to a place where I could go now just enjoy the haul. And I was so exhausted, I just took a nap.
Oh, my God.
I was just so, like, I'm just over it. So, yeah, I would cut the corners of some of the boxes so I could flatten enough of them and, like, mail them with the rule books. Oh, it was
That's what Aldi said when he was on the show last. He would talk about how he'd get all the stuff back for BGG, and they would split the boxes, the corners, so you can flatten them, and then they just reassemble them when they get here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, did a lot of those. So, anyways, all that to say, I did learn, the major tip I learned from them was find which games are hot and buy those first. So I zigzagged all over that haul trying to make sure. And unfortunately, I think I double bought at least 2 games just because of being like, did I get that one? Did I check it off? Oh, no, I better get it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my number 4 for do. Got another number 4 for don'ts. Don't leave the end hour of the halls early. Why I say that, a lot of people are like, oh, like, I want to beat the crowd out. It's like at a sporting event when you want to, like, leave 30 minutes before everyone else because you can get out of there. My tip is actually the opposite. Don't, because there's a bunch of little after parties at the booths that when the hall stops, actually a few booths will have, like, a wine and cheese mixer or a little karaoke thing or a beer tapping. And so you can find those if you're around when it closes. So just kind of float around a bit at the very end. When the music starts. So, like, there's just a lot of little fun moments that you can kind of ask around, like, where are you going when hours close, and where it kind of gets around. That's not true on the last day, so forget that for Sunday. But especially the first couple days, you can find some fun mixers when the hours end.
Like, even in the hall at their booth?
Being in the hall right at someone's booth. Yeah, like DeVere, I've had some wonderful little, like, mixers at. Pandasaurus, I know, has done it. One of my favorites is actually on setup day. Is it used to be Eggert Spiel, but now it's Deep Print. Always has, like, a beer that they make, and they open the cask for some literally bread and beer when it was the bread and beer release year. So yeah, some really fun little mixers. So there's a little secret insider tip of something to do is, don't leave early because you might miss out on some little after parties. That's
completely different because they can't wait to kick you out of the hall.
Correct. Isn't that hilarious? So it's again just a different culture of, like, everyone's racing to their dinner rezos and stuff like that, which, if you have one, I get it. But people will often make a later dinner reservation and kind of take their time, have a nice little nightcap mingle, then go back to the room, maybe, like, change, relax, and then have, like, an 8 o'clock dinner. So it has a very different kind of flow. I got one left for each one. You ready for this? The final?
Yeah, Luca came in for this one.
Okay. Here we go, buddy.
He came in here the last one, right? Right?
You ready? You ready for this?
Right.
My last do of something that you need to do is go outside, and there's little outside spots throughout the entire convention. Because each of the convention halls have like spots that trucks can pull in between. And so if you go out and exit, it will randomly throw you into these alleyways between the halls. Great shortcut. So you can cut without needing to get swept into the big hallways full of people. Just go out a random exit door and you'll just be outside and then go in another exit door. It feels like you're teleporting. I swear. It feels like you just found like wormholes through the convention, and you have. They are my favorite thing to get when you start to learn how to get from one hall to another using the outsides. It's like I just got a break from the human wave. 2, these shortcuts are the best. You get to see the sky. You get to breathe. You have like there are a few people using those as smoker spots, so you might have to cut your way through a little smoke poof, but it's still glorious. There's even one of my favorite food spots is actually in one of those outdoor spaces. So if you can find, there's one outdoor food stand that just does like German sausages and stuff. That is the secret spot that I won't say between which halls, but if you find a food stall outside, you have found like the secret spot. And so, use those wormholes, and just enjoy the breath of fresh air. It's so different than feeling like you're in Vegas, stuck inside kind of vibe. It's it's the best. Yeah, and Derek knows the spot. No lines there, which is also pretty crucial.
I assume it's not the kind of alleys that you get mugged in.
No muggings. So I have not heard of one yet. So definitely that's my favorite tip is use those secret portals. And then my don't, which is my don't for actually every convention, is don't skip 3 hours of sleep, 2 meals, and 1 shower every day. The 3, 2, 1.
3 hours of sleep?
You need at least 3 hours of sleep. I'm just saying the minimum to stay functional as a human. I'd love to say 6, 8, 10, but I'm going to be a realist. Anyone who's seen my social media knows that I usually sleep after a con.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to at least, I know. Oof.
But I say 4.
4? Sure.
4 cycle. That's what I did at the gathering. 4.
Again, I'm just saying minimums.
It was 4 hours later that the thing went up.
I'm saying minimums. I'm a person who clearly enjoys more than 2 meals a day. So I'm not saying this is recommended. I'm saying don't do less than. Don't skip a minimum of 3, 2, 1 or 4, 2, 1. So I'm old. I just pretend to be young. So I hear you.
You catch up afterwards.
Yeah. Or just die like I did after Gen Con for like 2 weeks. So
brutal.
But so there's my 5 do's and don'ts of Essen. Most of those are Essen specific.
How's the hall with, like, one of the things at Gen Con, I know it's packed and it takes a long time to get to places because of the alleyways, like it's kind of a maze. There's one big thoroughfare. Maybe you can count the front as another one. But it is very packed, but it is very packed with those giant backpacks and people not aware of their surroundings, on their phone, taking their time. What's it like in the hall there? Is it similar? Is it different? Are they more respectful?
It's different, and this is why the coat check is a big deal. They don't let you walk around with those bags.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it is a fantastic experience of like, I literally come home with bruises from those bags after a Gen Con. Like just people, and I get it, you turn and you don't realize there's a whole person on your back, but like you get beat up and the hallways get really full because of people bringing around bags. And trust me, I have prototypes. I know what it means. Like you need that bag to carry. Like if I'm pitching 20 games, how else am I going to bring prototypes around with me? So it is tricky. They do strongly encourage people to not rock big bags. The odd time it happens. I break that rule sometimes if I need to from prototypes, like, as an example. But in general, the point of the coat check is to alleviate that problem. And so you get a lot more people that are just kind of like walking around observing and experiencing things instead of that.
This is good too.
Okay, so yeah, this is a loaded question. So for anyone who doesn't know, first of all, Scott Brady is a phenomenal designer and is asking about, where do industry things happen? Where do you pitch? Are there behind the scene things? Or, is it more consumer focused? All that kind of thing. And I'll say a few generalities, and then, if people have more questions, throw them in the chat. Essen, to me, is one of the best places in the world to pitch, because you have so many decision makers all in one spot. And end of the day, your best chance at getting a game out in the world is talking to people and finding people to fall in love with your idea. So it takes two things: a great idea and a human connection. And you can do that through digital means. You can do that at any show. But I do think one of the beauties of Essen is that it is this rare environment where you could talk to the head of a game company in Tokyo and in Spain and in Milwaukee. And so, like, all those individuals are all in one building. So why not take that shot of, if I only had one show to pick, I might choose Essen, because I'd have my chance to show it to very different people, and they might like that game for very different reasons. Because I've done the exercise of showing one game, Bosk, a game that I co-designed with Erica Bioris. I showed that to probably 10 publishers from around the world, and they all gave opposite advices on how that game should be developed. But it was very much just like each of their countries and their audiences, they knew what would make that game best for them. And so, same thing, you can show it around and see who connects with it, because maybe you made a game that would really connect with, a publisher in Taiwan. Well, how are you going to know or be able to show that publisher? You can at Essen. There's a few downfalls of Essen. One is it's super busy, and those influential people have scheduled a lot in advance. So, right now we're 6 weeks ahead. This is a really good time to start scheduling some meetings, because people are going to be all booked up in like 2-3 weeks. And if you contact them saying, hey, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks, they're probably replying, hopefully see you next year, because I'm booked. So now is a great time to start considering who you want to show games with, and even just reach out to their social medias and ask, who do I talk to? All that. Same with localization. There's a lot of opportunity to bring a game that's maybe been successful in North America and show it around to people around the world and say, like, would you like this in your region? It goes both ways. There's stuff that's going to come back, but there's also a lot of games that, you can find a partner, and maybe it's even a small area. Maybe they only want 500 or 1,000 copies, but still, that, you group 2, 3, 4 different regions and do a joint print run. That's significant. Like that can really help a game do well. So I think that really matters. They have a business lounge that you can get a pass for. That is a great space for taking meetings. I have over the years bought a badge with a business lounge access, because even though I could get a free pass from a publisher, I really wanted that business lounge access. So I bought an additional ticket just to add on the business lounge access. It's just a little cafe at the back of, well, I think that's the back of Hall 1. I'd have to look at them out. But yeah, so that's a really great space. Asmodee has their own lounge, so all their partners and whatnot are in another wing near like Hall 7 or 8, literally the opposite corner of the convention center. So there's little pockets of places that you can do some meetings. And then I don't find the after hours is as much about business. It feels like use the hall hours for your business meetings, and use after hours as a chance to connect and maybe more just think about relationship building.
Great point. I like what you said there about having a personal connection and why it's important to be like you have the opportunity to be there with a whole bunch of people. Like that's good. So yeah, you just increase Scott's travel weight.
Sorry, buddy. I mean, sorry, not sorry. I think it's just gonna be really fruitful. Yeah, I think it's really a meaningful time. You don't even have to do it every day. Like what I'll sometimes do is combine a bunch of them. Try to avoid Sunday. Everyone's tired and exhausted. But if you can get in there, another major tip, if you can be in Essen on the Wednesday before it starts, people are constructing their booths and whatnot, but you can walk in the hallways and have some scheduled meetings. I've actually found Wednesdays to be my best day for pitching because you can come up to a booth and someone needs to take a break anyways for 30 minutes and you can pitch them a few concepts and you don't have the crowds and you don't have sales in the way.
Perfect.
Yeah, and hopefully, you leave some prototypes behind and then you free up some space. It helps motivate.
Yeah, the more games you leave, the more games you can take back.
Exactly. So it's like if whatever motivates you to kind of be like, well, I need to drop this off with someone. The other thing is like when I drop off prototypes, especially at somewhere like Essen, I'm thinking about space. So I'll often just put like the prototypes in a big giant Ziploc bag instead of like a cumbersome box and trying to make it look all pretty. Just minimum viable product. Just put what you need in there. Maybe you say, hey, I didn't even throw the 6 dice in there. Just provide 6 of your dice from at home. Like keep it small. Maybe even have a few copies, and that's a nice cheap way to keep your prototype like low cost.
Go in the living room, bud. Not on the table. Thank you. Do you want to say hi to Daryl? Yeah? Oh, he smiled.
Hey, we were chatting earlier today.
We were chatting earlier, yeah. Come here. You say hey.
Oh, I love your turtle shirt. Yeah.
Luca.
Woohoo!
Say hi. Wave. So that was cool. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Not cause more stress or chaos for those that are
opportunity.
Evan, you did miss the painting. I'll show it to you quickly. You'll have to go back and see. Luca actually named it on camera. He named it on camera, but he made this one today. This is today one of the 2 that he painted today. God, now I see Piglet. Is it weird? Now I see Piglet.
You're not Al.
No. All right. Demon Chihuahua. Perfect.
I see a little Chihuahua in there. Yeah.
That's a good one. All right. So as we go through the list, we're going to turn over to the list now. As we go through the list, if any questions come up, just there you go. Yeah, Mama. Derek's with you on the hot air balloon. Mama. Oh, there you go.
Good question. We're sorting the BGG list, so anyone who's interested in following along or finding later, and it's constantly updated by Eric W. Martin and the team at Board Game Geek. They do a phenomenal job. As the Essen list and the Gen Con list are like my go-tos of like they gather so much info on there. They'll tell you, and we'll walk through it. Like they'll show if the MSRP is already determined. Some of them you can even pre-order directly on the list, which if you have that opportunity, I again highly recommend. They'll sometimes sell out right from there. You can click if you want to add it to a list for yourself. You can sort if it's demo only, English only. It also, and this is the biggest trick, is really pay attention to what booth number, because sometimes you'll notice even if you scroll up just a smidge, I guess it's breaking my rule right now. We'll see it as we go down, but as you see different, as we go through different companies, you'll see that their booth numbers sometimes is in the description, sometimes it's only on their banner at the top. So as we scroll through, sometimes as we go to another company, that company banner will sometimes say what booth number. And the weird part about it is because sometimes the same game is being sold in 2 or 3 places, but one's the English version and another one's the French version, another one's the German, etc. So you'll see, like, for instance, with White Castle Matcha, all the different languages are in the one box. And so they mention, Catalonian versus English versus Italian versus Portuguese versus Spanish are all in that box. But lots of companies, they'll part it out and, have even a partner. So it might be a DeVere game, but it's in another region with a different company or something like that.
Yeah, DeVere is one of those companies that puts in the 7 rule books, so they just print that's just in one box and whatever. Also, I think we have this sorted by the number of thumbs from the list.
Right.
If you do this by just alphabetical by publisher, it'll have the booth number on there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because it's not the way this is set up. It'll have it right above, like, SETI. The company, the CGE, would be here, and it'll tell you. I mean, at least that's what they did with Gen Con. I don't know how Essen's set up, but that's kind of how they do things. I'm going to bounce back and forth between screens. I thought I can minimize the one and still look at the other, but if I get any smaller, it starts to get funky.
Yeah, no, this is a good size.
You summoned Mike. That might happen. Oh yeah, Scott's got you there.
Yeah,
if you do it by publisher, it'll have the booth number.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting Matcha. I don't know about you, but I was a big fan of White Castle, and the other thing is it's not a huge box, and I'm sure the expansion's even smaller. So
I actually have a different view of it than you do, and I played it with you, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So
I played it multiple times since.
Played it 4-player. It was like a half an hour in between. We were having lunch. Like, the downtime at 4-player, and I feel the same way about Red Cathedral going into White Castle. Playing it at 4-player, I would never do it again. I think.
Yeah, I won't play 4-player. I'll play 2 or 3-player.
Right.
It is longer than I like, but I found myself enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a good one. A lot of good things going on, but at that play count, I never would.
Yeah,
never do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I enjoy my White Castle. I get the frozen when I need to. It's missing the pickle, which I don't like pickles, but I like them on the White Castle burgers. But there's something about those things that are they're just amazing.
I tried them. I wanted to like them because of the movie. I do think about it every time, but I wish there was a White Castle game. But
yeah, maybe we need to make one.
Let's make a pickup and delivery White Castle game.
I'm good with that.
I'm super intrigued by this SETI game. I mean, CGE always does a great job with, like, the biggies, but I'd like to play it first. So I'm curious if anyone's played it in the chat, because it has been making the rounds this year on demo.
It was very popular at Origins, and one of the guys that was helping me out in the booth got one of the demo copies from the CGE booth.
Yep.
At the end of the show, and he's usually in the chat. I don't know if Brett's listening on the back end or hasn't said anything yet. But Brett, if you've played SETI or set it up and learned it, like, what do you think so far? I know that was on his top list from the show.
Yeah, it'll definitely be one of the hotness at the show for sure.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Tony.
Nice.
Tony's got a game that we're doing. Wait till you see it. It's going to be good.
Cool. Love Tony. Yeah. So I like good people getting together.
Eventually, we'll play it on the show because you can play it remotely.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun to show everybody how that one's going to work out. All right, so then we drop down to
Inferno. I'm intrigued by it. It looks beautiful. It seems like a huge time range, so that's concerning.
Yeah, one solo mode up to 2 hours. I like this. The grid move it economic. I can go into each one of these. If you want me to click into one, let me know.
Yeah, I don't at this stage. I think it's really interesting. I've always thought about, like, like the stages of hell being a good game. So it helps me not have to make that game, that it exists already now.
Well, also there was that Dante game that was on
Yeah.
GameFound that has your Dante and your
this
sending
is
heroes through. No, that is a different game.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, there are two similar.
Oh, I might be blurring them then.
Also, as we go through, and I'm sure this is set up the other way, if we don't mention something and you see it scroll by, if you see the MSRP over here, that usually means that it's for sale. And if it doesn't have it here, it might say demo. That means it's only for demo at the show.
Yep.
So it looks like those three are for sale. This one, and I've talked about Devere so many times on the show. I know nothing about this game, but now that I'm looking at Danny Garcia. But I see Devere on it, and it's an auto purchase for me because Devere is the quality, the stuff that they've been putting together. It's an auto for me. So also Garcia, I believe, is the one that did Barcelona and Arborea.
Yep.
Arborea is beautiful. It's such an interesting game. It's so colorful, and it gives you so many choices. His designs he's becoming a favorite of mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely trust Devere and will try anything they're making these days. So, yeah, it looks cool. It is on the bigger side. So, for me, with knowing Devere, I know it'll probably be released.
Yeah.
I might. This is a perfect example of, a promo I'll probably pick up if they have something at the show.
Yeah, the research tracks in Arborea are great. I know, right? This one, I don't think we need to talk about this one. This one was getting so much hype around its Kickstarter. It was unreal to see it in person at Level Up Con. Jeremy Howard can't stop talking about this one. I'm very excited about this one too.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I've met the designers a few times. They're awesome. They put the time and the work in, so I trust that. Yeah. And it's demo only at the show, but it's coming. So, Civolution, I actually played. I played about 90 minutes of it, and I didn't think I got to the halfway point. It is a Feld, but it is the heaviest Feld I've ever played.
Wow.
I know they've been working on it, and I'm curious to see how it has evolved. Pardon the pun.
And you just mentioned Deep Print for one of the other games we were talking about.
So I love Deep Print. They're formerly Eggert Spiel, and they sold that. Eggert Spiel has made some of my very favorite games. This will be super hot. I think I wondered if Derek had played it more recently. I think they've tightened up and they, tweaked a few things. But it is. I don't think Feld slept during this one. This is a monster. So, I think it's gonna be really hot. I think it's gonna be really popular. I personally won't be getting it because it also will weigh like a whole luggage. Like you might as well just add wheels and a stand to it. But it looks really cool. I'm really excited to try it.
My favorite Feld so far has been Bora Bora, which I just found out they redid.
Yeah,
with a different name. I didn't know that was a remake of Bora Bora.
Yeah, which one is it? I forget. I think it's number 5 or 6. I only have my 4 up here. Anyways. Arcs has been a very swingy opinion. People seem to polarize, love it, hate it. Cole has been a rock star in the design scene lately. I think if you're a Cole fan, it's a no-brainer. But again, this is something that I know I can get in North America.
Yeah, I picked it up for a friend of mine at Millennium when I was there for the 3WS day, and I think he's played it 4 or 5 times since maybe in a month.
Yeah,
and he can't stop talking about it. And the same day, within a half an hour, on the same day, I got a text message from my friend Dave, like, you got to play Arcs. Arcs is amazing. They played it like the Thursday that I got it for him. And then he's like, the game's fantastic. You need to give it a shot. And I'll give it a shot, although they lost me a while ago with a couple games before. Oath, Ahoy, whatever. So within a half an hour, I got his text message that said he played it for the 3rd time and I need to play it. And within a half an hour, I got a text message from someone else. And I quote, "I fucking hate Arcs." And I was like in the same, like back-to-back text messages. So I'm like, what happened? He goes, I'm going to play it again, but I think this, that, and the other thing. And then it could have been maybe an hour and a half later. And he's like, yep, I fucking hate it. So like what you said about the polarizing, it's either you do. I haven't seen anybody that's like, I've seen either I love it or I hate it kind of things from this one.
Totally. So I'll play it. I'll probably play it at I'm guessing I'll probably play it at BGG con or something like that, like a con where I can just sit back and have someone teach me it and I can just fully try it out and not, stress about it, but it's not a buyer for me.
You could fully play it with somebody else teaching you it at QSCon before Essen, because Dave would be happy to play with you. Just saying. This is another one. Endeavor we had on the show. We played with Sean when Burn Island and Grand Gamers had it running through Kickstarter. This one looks beautiful, and I'm not surprised. Everything Mark's amazing with what he puts out, and we'll talk about Tirnanog later. But Burn Island and Kids Table and what Helena does with those companies, it's just a beautiful Endeavor. The Z-Man edition of Endeavor is a beautiful game. The remake of it is beautiful, and this one just seems to be another step above what they did with the remake of it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, I'm a huge Endeavor fan, and obviously I'm a huge fan of Kid Table games and Burnt Island. Very close with Sean and the Capels. And so I love what they do. They have the highest of standards. So I trust whatever they're working on is worth owning, period. And I've never had a negative experience. I've had some games where it's not my style, but I've never thought to myself, this wasn't taken care of and respected and built out in a good way. They're always the best rule books, the best components. So it's just a matter of like how many games you want to own. We can't own them all. So that's the question, is if it's a good game for you and a good game for your collection. That one's not going to be out at Essen, but it'll be on preview, I'm sure. The next one I did play actually this summer, and I played it. It was taught to me by Steve Finn, cool. Which was pretty fun to learn from one of the two designers. And he shared about it. It gives me very much like a Life on Reterra kind of vibe. If anyone's looking for like a comparable game of like 30-minute strategy, tile laying, tile drafting, comboing the right thing, super affordable, super expandable because you can change the rules. They very much like kind of like flop 3 main kind of scoring matrix on top of the base game. It gives me almost like a little bit of a Sagrada tile laying vibe, and I say that in love because I'm biased. I like Sagrada, and I really enjoyed Cities.
I taught it at Tabletop Day. Someone had played it a long time ago, and I saw them break out the rule book, and I'm like, "You want to just put away the rule book?" And I got them into it, and it's
easy, it's straightforward. I mean, it's not necessarily doing anything new. I don't need that from every game. Right. It just does it well, and it's just like a satisfying 30-minute play.
And Phil is I don't think I've played something from Phil that I haven't liked.
True. Yeah. I mean, Phil is very good at making games approachable and just, satisfying. And I mean, I say those are hard things to do. So
going back one step, another favorite of mine was Wasabi. And when I found Helena was reprinting, and I had no idea Josh was the original designer. I just got my copy too, and I posted pictures about it. The insert, the piece of paper that shows you how to put stuff away, like the forward thinking of everything in that game, plus the components. It's just the streamlined nature of it. They just do a bang up job with everything that they're touching. Honestly, them, Devere, same thing.
Well, another Devere coming up, Hard Rock. I mean, this was one of the darlings of Gen Con for sure.
Yeah,
tons of excitement over that. Funny enough, fun fact, Jackie Fox actually pitched this to Maestro, and I said it was awesome, but that Maestro wasn't the right fit at this time. It's a heavier game than, it says 45 minutes. I don't think it's a 45 minute. I think it's a 75-minute game, sometimes a little longer with a 5-player. I don't think anyone their first play is ever going to be under an hour. I think this is an hour and a half your first time you play it, which is fine. I just it's a bit of a take. Your expectation on a game. I wouldn't say it's super entry level. Like it's the next level after a gateway game.
Right.
So I like it a lot. I love that it comes from a cool story point of Jackie being a rocker and making a game and loving games. So it captures the spirit. I'd also say I really enjoyed seeing the mix of people that were enjoying it. So I think it's reaching a lot of different people.
Oh no, that sucks. Sorry, buddy. Again with we talked about it already, but with Devere, and if you look at this is all in hotness, right? Of
hotness. We're not doing this in Devere order, and it's like half of the titles were Devere's.
Yeah, so we're already how many in, and we've got four of these titles are Devere titles. It's crazy.
Yeah, so awesome sign with Devere. Devere is definitely on my wish list of companies that I want to sign one of my own games. Ironically, I just signed and came out a game that I agented. Oh, what a cutie! Trying to stay up, trying to rock out late, trying that 70-70 rock. Yeah. So Devere is definitely on my wish list of companies I'd love to work with. You pulled up what I think is. I mean, I'm biased here because I don't know yet, but we talked about Danny. Danny made this game, Danny Garcia. This was my number one race to grab at Gen Con. I obviously haven't broken it open yet, so I want to. Got the promos as well, but this is I think it's going to be bonkers for them at Essen. I think this one's going to be really popular.
Makes sense. Yeah, adult conversation is boring.
Okay. I hear that.
Yeah, I saw this one a lot at Gen Con. I didn't pick it up, but again, Board and Dice, they do amazing stuff, and Garcia is quickly rising on my designer list.
Yeah,
which is great. Good for him.
Yeah, excited for that one. Have been waiting for someone to do something again with kind of the gear mechanic that originally Tzolk'in was my still is one of my favorite games, and so I'd just like to see more games that use that.
Yeah,
Ada's Dream, great theme. I think that's pretty exciting. Personally, is from what just talking to a few people, it was over 2 hours. Everyone that I know that played it, a little too long for my personal interest, but I love dice manipulation and engine building, so those things always intrigue me. I'll probably wait to try this one.
Yeah. This one I see all over the place. I saw that little Kickstarter exclusive box that had the little bowls. It was just a box for the bowls.
Yeah.
They were playing this Saturday. I saw a picture of it at Tabletop Day. This one's been popular.
Yeah, super popular. I played it a bunch of times. Some people love it. Some people just like it. That's fine. Still strong. I think the price point's amazing. Josh Wood's a great designer. I even pitched to him that I'd like to co-design Let's Go to Canada. So,
nice.
If people want that to happen, please tell AAG.
That's cool.
I don't know anything about this game. Pretty cover.
Yeah,
you know anything about it?
I've seen it.
Let's open this on up. Does anyone in chat know this one?
We talked about a little bit at the Gen Con about the Gen Con thing. It's got a very root feel with the minis. The art looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah. The art looks great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about it.
Presence.
Lots of love for it. So
yeah,
that's cool. I'm not super familiar with the next one. I did see it getting previewed at Gen Con at the Flat River Group event, but World Order. But that one's only for demo, so I think it's a little farther away.
Oh, are you not? Oh, wait. Damn it. I was clicking into.
It didn't show on the screen.
I clicked. I didn't realize it opened up a new window.
Yeah, it's not in the display. We're still staring at the list.
Yeah.
I was trying to cover for you. I was just like,
well, that was very nice. And here I am.
And then you called yourself out.
Been looking at. Here's Navoria.
Oh yeah, I see the root reference now.
Yeah, very root-ish. And then, but the art's cute as hell.
Sure. My fear is actually the opposite. When I see something like this, I'm like, is there a game or did someone just copy the root?
Yeah. It's like a hybrid between Root and Everdell.
Okay.
It's got good table presence.
Yeah. I mean, the irony is both of those games I don't play, but but I see it. Cool.
All right. We'll go back to the main thing. Nope, this one. There you go. Yeah, World Order, I've seen a lot, like the targeted sponsored ads.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them coming my way. I like the
demo.
This thing here, the bag building or deck building or whatever they're doing. If it's like bag or pool building, if it's just a deck builder, then cool. But if they can do something more interesting in that world, I think that'd be really fun.
I'm surprised that it's 2 to 4. I expected or want 5 and 6 in a theme like that, but let's see. I just like the cover makes me think it's like a bunch of people.
So Wayne, it's actually their codes for, you know how you get a code from BGG for like getting yourself a micro badge or something? They're those codes, but I don't want to have to go back and find them.
Yeah.
So I keep them so I can just click into it and get it real quick.
Love it.
Hysterical.
Well, Luther is gorgeous, and it sounds like it's going to be on demo, and that's one that I'm super excited about. I love worker placement. I love the theme. I actually played the viola for a number of years and was in a few orchestras. Fun fact. Yeah. Got some hidden talents. So yeah. Yeah, and we can go find Steven. So, and Derek says it's lovely. So,
look pretty. It looked pretty. I feel bad for their booth. Their booth. I think they were on the back end of Gen Con.
Yeah, they were in a tough location.
Yeah, Luthier's been good. Valkyries, I don't know anything about either.
Don't know Valkyries. I don't even know this company. Trajanus Games, but good for you for getting all these thumbs.
Yeah.
I love the price point. I love that it's 2 to 4. I'm super intrigued by 20 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, 2 to 4, 20 minutes, $35, 35 euro.
35 is a little expensive for 20 minutes, but maybe there's some really cool components. I'll definitely check it out. So
this one, somebody was just talking about in the QSCon chat.
Yeah,
it was on. I think it was on Kick. I think this is the one they meant. It was on Kickstarter, and they're waiting for this one to arrive. But I don't know if it's going to be here in time for QSCon.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. It looks like they got a bunch of languages in the one edition.
Yep.
A little pricey, a little long for my natural go-to. I've been trying to not buy too many games that are over an hour because I already have way too many. But intrigued by that for sure. I remember reading something about this game, but I can't remember why. But cover catches me. It's longer, but I do like area control. Derek's saying it's up his alley. It's
heavy.
I mean, it's heavy. He loves the heavy. So these are the kinds of games that I look at and I go, "Ooh, that looks nice." And then over the winter, someone teaches me it. I fall in love with it, and then I try to track down the version, and they're sold out, and I regret that I didn't. That screams that kind of potential for me.
Yeah, this is rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's even just weird to say 80. So that tells me like it's not 60. That's for sure. That was an intentional choice. So you're saying it's probably a 2-hour game,
right? Hi, bud. How you doing? Good.
The next one is by a publisher that I love picking stuff up at Essen from. Some of their stuff comes over. Some of their stuff takes a year or more to get picked up or come over. Is Ludanova. They also make really pretty stuff. Where are you going?
This is the first one I've seen that had the available for pre-order.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I mean, I often buy something from Ludanova each year. I don't know enough about this game to say this. It looks like it's 30 minutes per player. So it looks like the kind of thing that they're being pretty practical and honest about. And so, maybe I could play this as a 2-player in an hour. And so that's intriguing. At $60, that seems appropriate. They're really good with art and components being high quality. I love ancient Civ stuff. I love drafting. So color me interested.
Ludanova did Knizia's Siege of Rundar, right? Was that Ludanova?
What's that? I can't remember. They've done a lot of stuff like they did. They've done Yves Tournier games and Al Leduc and a few others that I've really enjoyed. Yeah, they always do something that I enjoy. I'm just looking around. There's always a few Ludanova games kicking around.
No.
Feels like this is the year of Thomas Holak. The next game is by Thomas Holak, and I feel like this is the second or third game of his on the list. Am I wrong?
I don't want to scroll up because I'll get yelled at.
Yeah, I will probably yell at you. So let me look him up and see.
Another long one.
Oh, he did SETI and he did Galileo Gallia.
Yeah, right there.
And he did SETI.
Oh, that's way up at the top.
Yeah. So, wow. Thomas is going to have a good show.
Yeah, him and Garcia are ripping this one up, huh?
And these all three are his first games.
Oh, wow. That's great.
What a way to start.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That'll be available. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Again with the bag building. This one sold out at Gen Con. It sold out when he brought it to Origins. Mark's now going through a reprint with, I think, an expansion or mini expansion. I don't remember what it was, but
Ken designed it.
The art is beautiful too.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've known Isaac for a number of years. Actually, I think my second or third Essen, Isaac was my roommate, and for Essen. I don't think he's been since, but it was a super fun year to walk around with him, and we actually tag teamed some pitch meetings, and I think Isaac is a super under the radar designer, but one of my personal favorites. I often just agree with a lot of his design decisions. So
yeah, this one looks beautiful.
Yeah, very excited about that.
You get that one.
Hey, another Ludanova. What am I talking about here?
Yeah, another Ludanova.
Yeah. Anyone who missed out on it, just jump into the new Kickstarter and you get the escape room. By I think Ken Franklin is the designer of the little escape room.
That's cool.
Who I adore. I think Ken Franklin's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
This is interesting because it's only for 1 to 2 players.
Yeah.
But it's only $25 and you can pre-order it. So that seems fun. I love Flatiron buildings. Like Toronto and New York have some phenomenal Flatiron. So color me intrigued. Isra,
I like that payoff. €25 for 45 minutes.
I often say to people that I try to get my playtime and my MSRP approximately the same so that I feel like I'm getting my value. Well, this is making me feel like I'm getting, bonus. So right away from a value add, I feel very tempted. Oh,
I'm going to go put him on the recliner. I'll be right back.
Totally. Sleepy baby. And I'll start the talk of, it looks like the expansion for Sky Team is next. Sky Team obviously has been on fire the last year. If you're in the chat and you have played Sky Team, let us know what you think. But I feel like that's a bit of a no-brainer. At $12 to get some expansion material for your game. If you have Sky Team, why not pick up some more materials? And I hope they just keep supplying that thing forever.
Sky Team is great. I played it on the show a few times with Wes, with Chris. It does something really fun, and I'm glad it got the accolades, or is getting the accolades that it deserves. It's really unique. It's really clever. I like that it feels very similar to stuff that you play, but it feels also different when you're playing it. And there's a lot of stuff in that base box, like a lot of expansions, a lot of modules that come out as you start to play. And now they're adding more stuff to it, which it just seems right.
Yeah. And not that you need it, but it's definitely just like if you're someone who likes to just continue to get all the expansions for. Steven asked, which you were away, to see pics of the Flatiron. Do you mind expanding that?
Oh, sure. I'll make sure I actually bring it up too this time.
Yeah, and I like the concern of buying the Turbulence game and flying back with it. Yeah, if you don't want to jinx your flight.
Here you go.
Ooh, I like the 3D.
Yeah,
that gets me intrigued right away.
Yeah, I like the building of it.
Yeah,
like it's going to be iconography based, which is cool.
Yeah, that's neat. That seems interesting. Seems inspired. Seems unique. I dig that.
Are you building one Flatiron building?
Yeah, together. I guess the pillars. That looks funky. Maybe there's like you're trying to get your colors in there, or you have certain colors, and that's cool. And yeah, you're trying to get them on the different streets around it, so the colors are the streets. Cool.
Yeah. Modular board, solitaire, solo solitaire, cool.
22 stories. 1902. I can just put it right, with my 1902 New York game.
Yeah, there you go. Careful, bud. Don't fall.
Cool. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Swung me with the images. I might have to pre-order that one. And maybe we shouldn't pull up images. You're gonna hurt my wallet. I have my wallet here. So.
Sorry. Christian's amazing. Christian's great.
Yeah, they're the combo for Aporta games. They're on fire.
Yeah.
I'll definitely play it and check it out. Again, it's in that right on the edge where it could be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great. I mean, Christian's got there's a new game I just got from him, and again, he's another one of those designers that I know everything that I've played of theirs has been a hit, and I believe, and we'll get to it a little bit later, I think Sparks from Adrian was co-designed with him, isn't it?
It is.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. So
yeah, there's that one. This one looks beautiful too. And
I'm so in on Unconscious Mind. It's not funny. I mean, I sometimes can be polarized from Johnny Pack Designs, but I always respect them. Like, I always like the choices. I just don't necessarily agree with them, but I always respect it. Like, I know there's a lot of thought behind it, but this one in general, I'm so intrigued by as a theme that I'm pretty hooked. I, again, know this will come to North America and it's going to be heavy. So if there's promos and stuff, I'll be buying those. But I'll buy this in North America.
Yeah, this is on my list. This is one that I would like. Last year for Essen, it was Nunatak.
Yeah.
The Kane Klinko one that Wes brought back for me. This would be the one that I would pull back this year, I think. But like you said, it's most likely going to be here.
Yeah, it's like even going back to Salt Forge, like Revive was the hot game from Kristen last year, and it took longer than many wanted for it coming back. So part of me regretted not getting Revive when I had the chance at Essen. Right. My personal favorite from Kristen is Santa Maria. That's my favorite game designed by them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in a wealth of phenomenal designers right now, looking at some cool big box games.
Yeah, 100%. What are you doing? You okay? What's gone? Buzz. Buzz is gone? Oh, he's watching Toy Story 3. Where's Buzz? Buzz is probably over there in the cabinet with Batman and Superman. Okay. I don't know anything about this one.
Yeah, same.
Also, do you notice? Look at the play time on these games. Like, I know there's a couple outliers. Like, obviously, this is expansion, but a lot of them are heavy. Like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It is Essen. It is Essen. So if there's a show to put out a heavy, I also think there's a bit of a swing. Like, there's been so many littles. I mean, I have a bunch of small box games that I picked up at Essen last year beside me that I still haven't gotten to because I got so many of them. I think it's a bit of the opposite now. People are like, well, where's the big chunky game that I love and I want to, be my main course? So it looks like maybe there'll be some hitting the ground. I mean, this one I don't know. I'm intrigued. I definitely want to check it out. Name's curious, but the next one is by a designer that I love.
Yeah.
And basically I can't say no usually to a Suchi game. I don't know much about it, and it's very, very, spice, camels, whatever. But yeah, multi-use cards, yes, please.
That I love. Yeah.
That's a hard one to say no to.
Yeah, it looks like it's not coming out till Q4, but you pick it up.
Yep. It'll probably be a limited release. Rebirth is really fun.
Looks beautiful. The art in this one is unbelievable. The depth in the image in that art is just killer.
Yeah, Mighty Boards is really, high quality art. They're not doing too many games. I'm really impressed with them. They're a publisher on the rise in my books, and they're already doing well. So keep doing awesome things. Yes, please.
Yeah, we played Art Society up at your place.
I love Art Society.
Yeah, the production value of that is unbelievable.
Yeah. And if they just keep doing that, again, this to me is a little more in my sweet spot, like 45 to 60. I can get that to the table all the time. The irony is those other ones that are 90 to 120 for the same price, I start to go like, well, will I get that out to the table as often versus this? I could probably play this 2-3 times before I even get one of the others to the table. So
right.
And again, that's just my play pattern and my availability compared to some people. They play a long game every other night.
Well, there's so many games too, right? Like you're eating up. Like our game night on Tuesday is usually 6 to 10. And the game night on Thursday is usually 6 to 10. And you can push it a little bit, like 5:30 or 5, depending on when you get there. But if you're playing a 3-4 hour game, you're playing one game.
That's one game.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, versus, if I'm playing a bunch of hour-long games and I know they're really hour-long games, I can get 3 of those in easy in a night.
Yep. Here's another one by Grand Gamers Guild, and this is a little Greek mythology in this one, which I'm a fan of.
Sure.
Yep. But demo only, so I gotta haunt Mark about more information on this one. Yeah. Also, it's currently sitting in at 8.6. That's killer.
Yeah, curious about that one, but demo for now.
Yep. Andromeda's Edge is a big one. We played that on the show a long time ago, before, like, when the Kickstarter was launching, and it's only gotten better since. Like, I know, Chris, the co-host, like he and I talk often, and what they're
Peter's
doing.
A friend of the show.
Yeah, Chris is a friend of the show.
No, I said Peter.
Oh, Peter's a friend. I think even Chris was a friend of the show. I'm like, yeah, he's a friend.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't mind.
Yeah, Peter's a friend of the show, but like Luke was on. This game is great. This game is. I saw it.
I think this is Luke's first.
Too.
I think this is Luke's first Essen.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, this one's a good one. This one, it's a solid game.
Yeah, and I bet it will be hopping on the sales floor.
Yeah, I mean, Dwellings is great. Dwellings is not without its own issue, depending on who you're playing with and how they can kind of chokehold the game and kind of ramp it up when you don't want them to. And Andromeda's Edge has just got good stuff. Like it's not. I mean, I don't know if Peter and them call it like the sequel to Dwellings, but it's got a lot of what that thing was doing really well. And people have said it's Dwellings in space, but it's just better. Like the gameplay is just better for me anyway.
Totally. And yeah, the release date saying Q4, that's probably a reference to North America, but if it has an MSRP, it's usually for sale unless there's a shipping problem. So that's why it's kind of exciting to get something at Essen where it might not get into stores till November, December. But if you're at Essen, they probably air shipped, X amount of units in just to make sure.
That also the Kickstarter is fulfilling soon as well. So I don't know if they'll have these, but
right. Usually, like when people are fulfilling, they don't want to put it out in stores until the fulfillment's done. So, but most people understand like when something big, like a convention, like a Gen Con or an Essen, companies need to survive as well. So if they have their shipment in for that while fulfilling, like let's make sure our game companies are still around. So, give them a little grace that obviously they would have loved for your game to be out there, obviously as soon as possible. But
that was one thing we had with charcuterie, because we were going through fulfillment and then we had Origins, so we brought them to Origins and the fan base, because my updates were often and open, like we kept everybody abreast of what was going on. And I remember one or two people on Facebook in one of those groups said something about how shitty it was that we were going to have it for sale at a convention and they didn't have their copy yet. And in the same thread, 3 backers were like, nope, we all knew about it. Like Mike's kept us, like we knew what was going on. And obviously they need to make money because that's what we're here for. Like the community had stepped up and shot down that whole thing almost immediately. And it was so cool to see them come to, like, we didn't have to come in there and say anything. The people, the backers were right there to support us. And it was so cool to see.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's sad that it even needs to happen, but I'm glad to see fans stepping up and saying like, look, we need companies to be able to survive so we can get more games. So, everyone's trying their best. Everyone wants their games out there as fast as possible. It's coming. Like, just trust the system.
And what they don't know, like a little peek behind the curtain, is sometimes at a show, you don't want to miss the show because it becomes front of mind. It becomes awareness. It becomes marketing for you. And a lot of companies will air freight a pallet or 2 of these games over that cost thousands of dollars to air freight.
Like you're actually maybe not even making money.
Right.
You're just breaking even.
They're having it there for front of mind awareness, for people to see, for people to get their hands on, for people to get it out into the wild to start talking about at their cost. So like they might not be making money. And a lot of times you're losing money based on what game it is and what the cost is to air freight. So like to get on their case about like, how could you do this? Yeah, they're doing it at a loss so they can make sure that they're afloat like later on and help out. So like, slow down.
Totally.
Ran over. Undaunted is on my list of games I need to play just because of all the ones that have come out before and the hype around them. I've never played them.
I've never played them. I originally assumed it was always 2-player. So this intrigues me that it's up to 4. I need to play some of the base experiences before I think I need to jump to 2,200. But I'm intrigued. I've only heard good things. I love Osprey. Osprey does really great quality. So
agreed.
Yeah, it's just a system I'm not familiar with, but high on my wish list.
Yeah.
This next game looks super pretty. I've never heard of the game company. I love city building. Up to 6 players is intriguing. Color me curious.
I wonder, can I just switch over?
I don't see it.
Oh, I didn't want to stop sharing. I just want to go over to the other screen. That's so weird.
I'm sure there's a way, but you're just not talented enough.
I'm the B team. Chris is the A team. I'm the B team.
I mean, you don't want to show them up anyway, so
no.
You might be just, punting it on purpose to show that we need them. Do you want to click on one where the components are showing? I'm curious what.
Well, I was looking at the mechanism. So it's got tile placement, variable setup, square grid. Okay. So I guess this one.
That one or the one to its left. Yeah, what's happening there? Okay, that doesn't really tell me too much.
No clue.
Okay, here we go. So tile, it's a little messy. It's a little
but it's got stacking tiles, which is interesting.
That's
so maybe a little bit of
area control. If you go back to the cards, you'll see there's a pattern. See how this has and the tops there have certain patterns. So maybe when you create certain patterns.
Yeah, the color of the tile, maybe. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, you're building your own?
Yeah, I think you're building your own, and then you're playing cards to trigger, did you make that pattern or design? And that's why you need to go up, because sometimes you might need to change it. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks interesting. I like the high player count. I like Portland's comment. Acropolis with pattern matching. Acropolis is one of the top games for me. So
yeah, Acropolis is. It looks very Acropolis-like.
All right, let's keep speeding through this list. I feel like we've still only scratched the surface.
This one I just picked up. I have the foreign one, and I picked up the English one at Gen Con this year. There's a lot of talk around QSCon with this game. There are a bunch of people that play it. It looks. I've heard nothing but good things about it so far.
Yeah, super interested to try it.
Yeah. Here's another DeVere. This was also out at Gen Con as well.
Yep. Heard good things. It's long, but it's a great price.
Yeah.
So curious to try it.
This seems interesting. Virus rolling right.
I have no interest. No interest.
There's that company I hadn't heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks for me. But hope it's good. I've seen some pictures for this. It seems like a very heavy economic game, Asian Tigers.
Why is that green?
Yeah, I don't know. Sale price instead of MSRP.
Yeah, interesting. I know they got shit for the artist being or whatever had happened with the artist saying that they actually drew it, but they used AI art.
Yeah.
I know they had a thing about it, but the game, it made me look into the game because I want to know what was going on. It actually looked really fun.
Yeah, it intrigues me. I probably won't buy it. I'll play it first, but
yeah, same. Also, economic games, I love worker placement, but when you start throwing economic in there, I start to get
Yeah, I mean, I like economics, but they definitely scare people away, and I don't blame them. And then it gets harder to get to the table.
Yeah, and that Kabuki, so I'm not sure. You have to go in and look at the articles and what happened, but nothing against the company. From what I understand is the artist told them that they did the art, but then it turned out once people started seeing the art, they called him out, and apparently it wasn't all hand drawn or done by the artist. That's a
more to the story.
All right, here's another Garcia.
Well, this is the expansion to Barcelona.
Oh, expansion. Okay. All right. I thought it was another Barcelona thing.
I'm curious about it. I'm pretty sure it's dependent.
I like this. I've never seen that before. Different dice movement.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nucleum, super popular last year, right?
It was. I mean, I played it once. I just thought it was really long.
Mm.
I played for 3 hours, and we rushed stuff, and it could have easily gone another hour or two if people weren't rushing. So I don't believe the runtime, but
No, that's just for an expansion, so that's just
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was how much time is added.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
scares me. So
That's crazy. This one looked good. This is another
Yeah.
this is off the back board and dice. So they got a couple on this list too, but this one looked
Yeah.
really good.
yeah,
Again,
I love Stan's design, so I'm usually a fan. He also doesn't do a lot of area majority. I love area majority, so I am intrigued about that. It looks
yeah,
like it's
action
dropping for the first time during Essen, with the release date being October 3rd.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, this one was good. This one looks good. And again, pointing out the playtime on these friggin' things is unbelievable.
Monsters. All right, I do know Le Beau Jeu. I'm not a huge co-op fan, but 9.2 is impressive.
Yeah.
It is demo only, and it's demo only for 1 to 3 hours. Whew.
Wow.
Deduction
exploration.
That is not my game, but I hope it's great.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I like that idea. This one looks like it's on the wrong list.
Yeah. I mean, Looping Games has their crowd. They always have a game every year, so
I like that. That's
I love the
interesting.
theme. The theme's
Yeah.
cool, but
Yeah.
it's probably not at the top of my list.
Hmm.
Curiously, though, the next game is also from Looping Games, which is
yeah.
kind of interesting. But this is isn't that a remake, Around the World in 80 Days?
I thought so.
No, I don't think it is. I think the other one's Around in 90 Days.
Oh, and didn't Alan do that?
Yeah, that's why I was like, what's going on? No, wait here. There is Around the World in 80 Days from Michael Rieneck, and that Michael is the one who did like Cuba and Pillars of the Earth and Merlin. So I'm kind of confused. I guess because it's a book that it's open or available, but that's confusing for the market to have multiple Around the World in 80-day games.
Yeah, usually that's frowned upon.
Yeah, weird. Expansion for Planet Unknown. I love Planet Unknown. It's demo only though, so
yeah. I played this up at your place. I really, for the first time, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I love it. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Again, demo only, but it's supposed to be a bit of a quicker Lacerda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
44 hours.
I'm curious to see it before. Yeah, I'd like to play it first.
Yeah, I like the art's cool. My Speakeasy game is the one with you and Adrian. I haven't played the gig yet. I liked there's one with an O that was about a speakeasy too, but the one by Artana, Speakeasy Blues.
Yeah.
That was my
We're shopping around trying to find a publisher that wants to restore it because we have the rights back. So
that's a good one. If you're listening and you're looking for a speakeasy game, or maybe something you want to retheme with dice, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking I might just try to think of a totally fresh theme again, but use the mechanics because I love the mechanics from the game. So,
well, I know coral reefs have been popular, and it looks like things are going into a music direction. So maybe you can retheme it into. I mean, it had music, so
yeah, it was the Jazz Age.
Mm-hmm. I don't know this one.
No, pretty cover though.
Yeah, I don't know what that festival is. I'm not going to try and say it.
Nope, I'm not either. But it's a card game, and it's $15, and I will probably buy it just because it looks pretty.
I'm a
sucker for those moments.
Nice, easy intro.
I put beside me a bunch of Essen card games just to show my like. I can't say no to moments like that. So it's like, here's an example of one that I bought last year. I still haven't opened.
Yeah.
or I just cracked this open. I have, all of these become like, 10, 15 euros. Why not? And here's another one.
Oh, nice.
They're cute. They're small. If I can get 2 plays out of them, I feel like I got my money's worth. And if I fall in love with them, great. The game for me from Gen Con, I'm surprised it's not on this list, but I guess it's not. Was this the gang?
Oh, the gang's on here.
Is it? I'm surprised it hasn't shown up yet because this was my number 1 game, and it breaks my rule of cooperative that I love. Have you played it?
No, I haven't.
It's so good. This is addiction. This is like end of night. You throw this on the table, and all of a sudden you realize, like, what? We've been sitting here for hours playing, and yet it's just a 20-minute game. But you're like, again, hit it. It's like binge TV, but in cardboard form.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I sold out when I went over there.
Yeah, that was the second
starting to get on my radar too. I mean, Scott Alms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. It seems like a fair price. The only thing is it's a 1-player game.
Yeah, one only.
Normally play solo, but I'm intrigued by it.
This one we looked at the Gen Con preview as well. This will look good.
That looks spectacular.
It looks spectacular. I hope it's spectacular. It looked a lot like when we were looking through it. It looked a lot like Arc Nova Light.
Ooh.
Like if you go into it and you look at the grid, like your player board, it's got that hex thing where you're building like the sanctuary and stuff. It seemed very.
That sounds lovely.
Huh?
That sounds lovely. Plays up to 6. That's huge in my books. Yeah, it looks really fun. I hope it's good. I hope it's not just grabbing onto the animal theme that everyone's doing right now. It worries me that it looks a little bit like, which it's a game I love, but oh shoot, what was that game called? And it was like Bingo, but a Kramer game about wildlife.
Eco?
No, another great game, but
it's a Kramer wildlife game.
Now it's gonna bug me. Let me look for it. Anyone in chat that can help me out. Maybe I can find it faster. It's me versus chat. Who can find it faster with my horrible description? It came out maybe 3 years ago. I should sort by year, but it's about like safari-ish animals. And there's like 6 or 8 types of animals, and some of them need to be near water. Oh, really? Nobody got it? Really make me find this? Oh boy.
You just look at Kramer games, can't you?
Renature.
Oh, I haven't played it.
You haven't played Renature? Oh, it's lovely. Oh wait, it's not Renature I'm talking about.
Okay. Still haven't played it.
It looks like Renature. They had more than one of these. Savannah Park. There it is.
Oh. I haven't played that one either.
Savannah Park's great. But it always makes me wonder if it's when I see a game like this. Yeah. I highly recommend Savannah Park.
Here's that Perro Loco again.
Yeah.
What were we just? Oh, this one.
Yeah. Is it $15 as well?
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a bunch of card games from this company. 2-player only though.
Yep.
Sunrise Sunset is just a great name already.
Yep.
And it's a duel between the Egyptian gods of sun and moon.
Yeah.
That's cool. Seth and Horus. That sounds... they definitely have me for intrigue. It seems language dependent.
Well,
it's cool.
independent though. If you can do English, Spanish.
Yeah, it's weird because it looks like the cards have a bunch of text on the bottom. Oh, they doubled it. Oh, that's a bummer because the Spanish is the top language. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna get popular.
Yep. Yeah, love the runtime. I'm super curious.
Yep.
Florian is a
the
great
Footsteps of Darwin was nominated. It's gotten tremendous feedback, and this one's following in its footsteps.
Yep.
I did that. God, this needed a big box.
Was there a bunch of expansions?
I thought there was only one, and it's a big box to begin with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they did do the big box for Agricola.
Yeah.
Last year, so maybe this is they're doing.
Agricola had a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Weird. More endangered. Cool.
Yep. More endangered. This
one
looked good.
I feel like that came out a while ago, though, didn't it?
No, it was on Kickstarter beginning of this year, I guess. It hasn't fulfilled yet.
Got it.
But it looked intriguing, like the way it was all working.
Sure. Again, 2-player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play a lot 2-player only, so. More endangered.
Gamers expansion.
Yeah.
Is it an expansion?
Yeah.
It's an escape room. It's one of the little ones.
Yeah.
Cool. No idea.
Yeah. I don't know that either.
A lot of deck bag pool building in these.
Interesting.
$15, 40 to 90 minutes. Wow.
Intriguing. Card game.
Oh, interesting. There's an expansion
already
too. Yeah. Huh.
Another Danny Garcia coming up.
Yeah. 20 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Tableau building.
Tableau Mafia. Interesting.
I like tableau building.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's cool. We just talking about this one.
Yes, please. Yeah, that's an insta buy for me.
Yeah.
Acropolis expansion. All day.
Yeah, 100%. €12. Yep.
Oof. Easy.
That's
Take my money.
Sorry, we are French. Another one.
Yep. Interesting. Cool. Oh, this is actually Fabio had this at Gathering. I heard some really good things. Mandy played it and told me it was really good.
Okay. Oh, geez, yeah.
The new Yokohama.
Yep.
But that's already for sale.
Yeah, you can get that one. We looked at this one for the Gen Con preview too.
Yeah. Cool theme.
Don't touch that, buddy. Thank you. This is one of those 18 card games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Expansion for Shuffle. Cool.
Yeah, I got this one. This was given to me at Origins, actually.
Nice.
Yep. This is on my list of games I need. I need a copy of Bus. It's super fun.
I've never played it.
It's pricey.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find, but that 3-player minimum is rough. That's why I haven't bought it yet. Like, I like it to be 2, but it wouldn't play well at 2.
Right.
I do like that.
Delivery is tough to do well at 2.
I'm pretty sure I played it with Derek. Derek, you taught me this, didn't you? At Gathering, I think it was last year, maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to try it sometime. So
it's a good one. Yeah, Rolling Rivers, and there's the other one that was up part of their Kickstarter. That's the Flip and Roll. They're calling it a Flip and Roll. Haven't played it
yet. We talked earlier about the artist game.
Yeah,
it's the same designer that was the Mighty Boards.
What, Flynn?
No, the next one, Martin Wallace.
Martin Wallace? Oh, yeah. That cover, we talked about this one at Gen Con too. That cover looks awesome. I love that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, next thing. This is amazing.
Really?
Amazing.
Okay.
This is my, hey, we're at after 2 hours. Tip of the show. If it's for sale, everyone should buy this game. Fishing.
Okay.
It was my favorite game I played at Gathering.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a trick taking game that maybe Derek even played with me. Or like Friedman kept having different people try it out, but you don't play with the whole deck. Every time you play, more cards get added in.
That's cool.
And it's almost, it gives me the vibes of like Janitor or whatever people call the game where like when you play the win or President or whatever, where if you do well, you win more cards.
Yeah.
You lose cards and etc. It has that vibe, but the cool part is it actually has like a built-in catch-up mechanic of like when you win, you don't get more cards. The other people get cool extra cards, and then they start winning tricks. And the tricks you win are the cards you keep. So you want to like win certain cards to set your hand up for the next game. Yeah, if you don't like trick taking, you're not gonna like it. But it is unique in its trick taking, and it has a very, if you like deck building, it has deck building in trick taking.
I like trick taking if they have something unique. Like Evan's
that's
game.
what's unique about it. It's like you gotta play 4 or 5 hands.
Yeah.
And then it's the end score after like that. It was great.
Yeah, it's got to have something. It has to have something unique or fun or different. That's not your standard trick taker because I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I just really loved it. Like as your hand was shrinking, you'd get new cards for the next hand, and so you'd get to top deck, and the deck is set up that it gets better. So like stronger cards come. Like you play the game, and it's like cards only go up to like 10 or 20, and then later on you're gaining 30s and 40s or whatever. So you're like, oh dang, this is a powerful card, but like the first hand or two, you're kind of onboarding and like there's less powers and less numbers. And then like by the time you're playing the last hand, you're like, whoa, these cards are crazy. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, also Friedman makes good stuff.
Yeah.
This one's on my list. I've heard rumblings of this game. I'm curious about it.
It looks cute. I've heard real mixed reviews. So
yeah.
I think it just kind of jumped on the cat movement, but
the cat with the wires and here's a Kiesling.
Yeah, this actually I think it was Benita was just telling me that it's awesome. I played it a couple years back and I thought it was quite interesting even in its earlier. I heard it's kind of an Azul killer.
Oh, that word killer is. They were talking about arcs being Twilight Imperium killer.
I know. It's triggering. I'm just saying, putting it out there.
Maybe I would be happy if there was a game that put Azul to sleep. I'd be totally fine with that.
Craftwagon's just. I shouldn't say just. It's a remake. I love the game. It's coming back. New art. I think they're even adding a few things to it, so I'm excited.
Even when they're not on the same game together, they're right next to each other.
Right. Well, that's another Kramer.
Oh, it's not Wolfgang. Oh, yeah.
But also in the mix of designers that make those kind of games for sure.
Yeah.
Craftwagon's lovely. I highly recommend it. It's one of the better kind of rondel economic games. Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they're just remaking it. It looks like they're like
it looks like they're modernizing it. Portland, you're right. It was Spielworks. It also came out, I believe, with Stronghold as well. So It's had a few different companies over the years.
Yep.
And you already mentioned Rolling Hills.
Yeah, here's the other one. Yep.
I'm intrigued by Flow. I really love the layering of the tiles, so
Yep.
that looks really cool to me. But it's demo
It's
only.
another Johnny Pack one too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Polaris, I'm curious about. I love Simone.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know this publisher, but cool cover. I love area control. I'm curious how abstract it is. If it's too abstract, don't know yet. But I'll definitely check it out. And it is in the time length that suits my life more these days.
Yeah. Good price point, right? Like you said, you try to get your MSRP to match your playtime. This has to happen.
Yeah, this is so cool. I mean, I'm a huge fan in general of King of Tokyo. It really, was early in when King of Tokyo first came was actually the first game I ever played at Snakes and Lattes.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm intrigued and I'm hopeful. I don't naturally like 2 players, but please prove me wrong, King of Tokyo duel.
It would be nice. I don't know this one.
Yeah, it has a This War Is Mine kind of visual vibe. Skirmish is
World War One.
World War One. I don't naturally go for war games, but I'm definitely open minded. I like card games, action point of systems, so
yeah,
I'd be intrigued. I probably wouldn't buy it, but I would definitely try it.
Yeah.
The next one I'm super curious about. You mentioned it as a joke, but it's the truth. There is a lot of Reef games hidden, and which one will stand supreme? This is in the fight. I mean, I will try it. I love board and dice. It feels like the right length of time. I just don't need more than one. In the end, I'm gonna have to decide which is the Reef game that stays on my shelf.
You need to play Julio's. Like I know I'm a little bit biased, but you're getting a very unique kind of thing in a 20 to 25 minute game.
Sure. I'm a big fan of Octopus Garden as well, and that's kind of an old retro Reef themed, and Aquatica from the team that made Reef. There's a lot out there, and I don't know if I've seen anything that's necessarily that unique. They feel a lot like each one's a set collection game.
Yep.
And so, our Aquas are, and Aqua's great. I really liked it. But yeah, like which one will last?
Lumicora looks good. I learned that one. I haven't played it to see how it actually plays. Like I learned how to play it. Yeah, but I like the art. I like the style of it. It's neat. They all seem, because obviously I'm attuned to it, right? So I'm checking out all these Coral games that are coming out, and they have similarities and they look different from each other, but there's definitely an overarching like big board doing stuff on a board kind of thing. Except for that one that's called Coral that has like those L-shaped tetrominoes.
Sure.
Cubes. Like it's a little bit different, but there are a lot of them for sure. What are you doing, bud? What are you doing? You okay?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Deep.
I don't know.
I don't know.
This is DeVere, and this looks out of the box for DeVere. No pun intended.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, they do have this small box line. That was actually the game I did agency for, but I didn't make a game for. But I repped Flash 10 for DeVere.
Cool.
Which just came out this year. So I'm curious because they're just trying to continue to hit the sweet spot of, $10-ish games that are easy grabs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll definitely try it out.
Yep.
Game set collection. Always curious.
Yep.
Which
Albi. Where was Albi?
Yep.
This was Albi or Albi. I don't know how they pronounce it. There's another one.
Yep.
$20, 30 to 60.
Potion building.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, expansion.
Yep. Available.
Yep. This next one I'm intrigued by because I love Ben Pinchback, Matt Riddle, and Adam Hill. I don't know if I know Dennis, but I also really like Cranio. So this is instantly on my checkout because of the credibility of publisher and designers. But it's long, so it's got to be good, and it's the kind of thing that I'd probably wait. This is a tough one because the company doesn't always have things come over, so you don't know. It's a team
this
up.
falls in that what you were talking about before, where if you might wait too long, it might not come out.
Might not. It might. It's a big game. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Super Meeple's involved as well. It looks like so.
Yeah.
On the fence. Could be convinced. I know there's a Rado video, so maybe I'll check that out first.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Ironwood looks interesting, but it's a dual system type thing. It's not my natural cup of tea, but
war game, conflict resolution.
Another Nova. Yeah, and this one looks real intriguing. I like the theme they're tackling.
Pattern building, point-to-point city. That's nice.
Yeah,
you can pre-order it and pick it up.
Yeah, I would be curious to check it out and see it for demo, and it's a theme that I think is really interesting. It's a Punjabi city, I think in the 50s, that had kind of a interesting city growth plan. So they built a game around it. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
looks good. Yep.
Yeah, it's available.
Yep.
It was on the mushroom trend.
Yep.
There will only be one that survives. We'll see which one it is.
Yeah, we'll see for sure.
Spiel of Eternity was a real surprise at last year's Essen. Not many people knew too much about it.
Yeah,
I knew there was a bit of a bidding war, and then since then, people have really loved it and said, Veil of Eternity might have been one of the better or best games that came out of last year's Essen. So I'm not.
Mandu does good stuff. There's a couple that Mandu does that's really they stood out for me.
Yeah, so Mandu was the original, and I forget who has localized Veil of Eternity, but I'm sure now that that's picked, this will come following.
Yeah, that's good. Babylon, the Hanging Gardens. It's a really good. I don't know. Like I would like to. I had an idea back when about a game in the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and it's nice to see.
It's an interesting theme. So I hope it's awesome. It's I don't know too much about it. They're releasing, but they don't have a price yet.
Renegade localized it.
Oh, cool.
That one.
Oh, for Veil.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing, if you click on Babylon, it has a really great 3D presence that I think is worth checking out. It has me intrigued by it.
This one. And don't slow down now. Come on. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if the game matches its table presence, it's a home run. Look at that.
It's like World Wonders, but
up, right? Yeah. And so the board has all of the cutouts, and then you can like sync things in, and yeah,
look at that.
So that's intriguing to me. Like if you can pull it off, that could be pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a render, right? They don't look like real pieces.
No, but I think like the fact that you're bridging gaps and staircases and probably scoring points for connecting plateaus and yada yada, and you all start flat.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
It does seem pricey, and so I agree with you in the chat. How expensive is this thing going to be? But at the same time, it's not a ton of molds. It does kind of look like there's only half a dozen molds. So
yeah. Ah. Yeah, it could be good.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
That's why we look at the list, right? And catch some interest and maybe get a dud the odd time. But the exciting part is finding that gem and being maybe part of the first people to find it.
Yeah.
We know about Foundations, great game. The more economical version themed around Metropolis.
Awesome human. Emerson is an amazing
one of the
being.
best. So trying to find an excuse to do a game with him. So I'm, looking forward to whatever he's doing these days. I've seen this game around. Don't know anything about it. Another alibi.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know who. This is the third or fourth from Albi.
But yeah,
I've heard good things about Carrick. I don't know it though.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
Castle Combo. I feel like I do know this game. Oh yeah, Matthew. I've heard about this game from him. Don't know much about the game, but
That's
at
nice,
$20, it's a nice price point, worth giving it a try. Hoping it's good. Pedro came out a few years ago, I thought. I don't know why it's saying just now, but it's a big, economic, expensive game. So
yeah, my lord.
I've never heard of Floresta, but
combo
Arcade and Meebo.
Yeah,
I mean that's it. They've been good before, so
it's a good one.
Curious about this just because it's cheap.
Yeah, create the perfect frames and the best animation sequence. Interesting.
Yeah.
Set. Okay. Selection order. Set collection. Sure. Cool.
It's cheap, so I'm willing to check it out. I'm excited about Dead Cells a lot. I love this team.
Jason has a copy of this that he's got to learn to play, so I'll be playing this soon with him.
Yeah, let me know what you think because this is the team behind the Smurfs game, and they crushed it on that. And I'm curious how they took this game. I'm not a cooperative fan, so that concerns me personally, but there's obviously lots of people that love co-op, so I hope it's a home run.
I hope so too. Same.
And then here we go.
There it is.
Sparks.
Yep.
Adrian with the Osby and Svensson crew.
Yep.
I made a robot, dice variable player power drafting game.
Yep.
Looks fun. I mean, I'm biased, but I love Adrian's designs. I'm curious in this combo or this team.
Yep.
What they came up with.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I mean I'll for sure buy. Just I gotta. It's Adrian. So
well, yeah,
I'll be one of the ones that I gotta race out and get, and that's just luggage space for sure.
If this has a chance of coming over here, which I hope it does, I need to get it. If it doesn't, I need somebody to pick it up for me.
Right. And it could go either way because it is a publisher that's like, I don't know their stuff.
Yeah.
It has to hit right away or else. Yeah, and Portland, you mentioned lots of designers. I joked when he told me about it. I'm like, does anyone actually get a royalty? But is everyone doing this for like 1% each? I don't know how they pull that off, but I hope it's a home run and it works. But just like that and the previous one, it's hard to feed enough mouths on a design credit. So
yeah.
But if it works, we could, if we live in an economy where designers can get enough that we can work in cool teams like that, we can make some fun games.
Yep. I'm excited that we are here with Sparks, and here's where we are on the list.
Oh my goodness. We're going to live here. We're going to live here forever.
It's gonna be a while. Yeah. I don't know anything about this company, this game. It's a solo game, so that's interesting.
Yeah, $18. It seems worth a potential flyer, but I just know nothing about it. Talking about the world needing more coral reefs, the next one.
Yeah, this looks like it's based on a comic strip, maybe.
Yeah, curious.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a vibe, so.
Yep, Aquatica coral reef. So Aquatica's doing that. Good job.
Yeah. Squeezing in some coral reefs in that game already.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this just because Salt and Pepper always does kind of interesting things, and interesting themes. But it's 2-player only, so that usually scares me away. But
yeah,
I hope it's cool, and then I'll get talked into trying it.
Yeah.
I love games by Costa just because they try things. This is for demo only.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is, but
yeah, not even a playtime.
I'm curious to see it.
It's scary. That's interesting that it's coming out in November, but we don't know what playtime.
Yeah, it just tells me there's maybe not as much update / communication happening. That's all. Yeah, dodo riding dinos is a thing. I know the artist. I actually just met the artist in Mexico.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's a lower, like a younger version of it, right? First race, 7+.
Yeah, it looks like a junior.
Yeah. This looks like it's a new one, not an expansion. It looks like it's a
standalone. Yeah, with a different vibe, a different scenery. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Japanese vibes.
This one sounds familiar, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know it. But I like animals. I like
chaining,
but
I don't know the company.
Don't know the company. Good for them for getting all these thumbs.
Yeah. This
Captain Flip, like, people adore this game. I like it.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't fully understand why the love is so high, other than, it's approachable and it's fast and it's affordable. But it reminds me a lot of like Fairy Tale Inn.
Oh, okay.
Where you drop them and the grid matters, and but then this is in the flat.
Yeah. I like it's super approachable. You're up and playing it in under a minute. It's got interesting choices for the player.
Sure.
You can't predict what it is. Like you don't know what's on the other side just because of one's on the other side of every other one. But I really like it, and I'm pretty sure this box comes with what they had at the gathering. But there's four games in that thing. There's four things in it, which is really cool because then you're playing it a couple times. I also love Maury's games, but I
like Maury a lot. I think even Derek said I can play in 6 minutes. Yeah. Like when you know this game, it's 10, 15 minutes tops.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, another Martin Wallace. Oh, Wallace Designs. Really?
Interesting.
Yeah, very. Huh.
Yeah, a rail game. I'm curious. But don't know anything about it.
Nope. Stevens, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Oh, there's another Costa.
Yeah. Interesting. I've never heard of the company, but I love glass making.
Huh.
Let's check it out.
Cool. There's a
expansion for Ancient Knowledge. I liked Ancient Knowledge a lot, actually. I think that was underappreciated.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Ooh.
Mini Cascadia. I've heard lots of good things about Loot.
Loot, I just played on Tuesday.
What'd you think?
Last Tuesday. I really enjoyed it. It was.
What do you like better, that or Captain Flip? I've heard the two compared.
They're completely different games.
But just like from if you were to spend $30 or less and buy one of them, which would you buy?
It depends on my game group. If I'm going for something that is for gamers, this. If I'm going for something that is for people that aren't necessarily gamers, then Flip.
Okay.
This one has more to it than it seems. Like the art makes it seem like it's a kiddie game, like definitely for the younger crowd. But there is an amazing amount of strategy in not only where you're placing your Vikings on the board, but where you're placing your hexes on your grid and how those combos are working. In addition to the fact that you can take some of those longboats, you can take some tiles to your board, but if you don't complete them, you actually get negative points for them. So knowing when to call it quits and to stop doing stuff and just focus on your puzzle, there's a moment there that wouldn't be necessarily easy for gamers to understand. Where with Captain Flip, it's like, fuck, I turned over the third cannoneer. Like, oh well, like it totally different games. And I think that this one would be really good for a gamer type group, not heavy game, but medium weight game, like entry level, maybe a little bit more like Gateway Plus.
A little more strategy, a little more. It's not hard, but it has some more depth.
This one surprised me. This one had a lot more to it than I thought it would. I thought it would be a much lighter game, but it's strategic. Like it's got a lot of choices. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah, and for the price, like it's definite. Like that would be. I'm glad I picked it up.
I think that's why I think the comparison is that they're both affordable and approachable teaches.
Yeah, they are the same price.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why they got compared. In my conversations, was kind of like, which would you rather buy and go back to over and over again? And a lot of people, when the comparison was made, was like, people said like, yeah, they're both really great out the gates, but I think I'll be playing Loot longer.
Interesting. They both have replayability through the roof because of the way the longboats come up, because of the choices you have, because of how you're getting. Plus, the tiles are flippable, like the main Loot tiles are flippable to board. So it's got tremendous replay. But I think this one is definitely more for your midweight, like upper gateway, midweight, and then Captain Flip would be more for your intro level.
Sure.
Although it's super fun to play, like even as a gamer, Captain Flip was super fun to play because it presents really interesting choices every time you pull from the bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think I would divide them up that way instead of them. They're not similar, but
sure.
Hi. How you doing? Good. How's your brother? Good. It's another DeVere. One of those $10 ones.
$10 games. Curious.
Yeah.
3 to 6. Super interested.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Is that English? Warp and Weft?
I have no idea.
Interesting. Abstract puzzle chaining.
Huh. 8 plus.
DeVere is going out. They are busy. Here's another Albie or Elby.
Yeah, another Albie.
Weird.
Nut Venture. Jesus. The comments that you can make.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
I mean, dice rolling, memory, and animals, and you're collecting nuts for the winter? It's 6 plus. So
I'll confess that. I hope it is, but at the same time, there's a lot of squirrel games, so.
Yeah. Wow. Thingstead. Salt and Pepper. Again, Scott Alms. Two player only. No, don't do that. Not in here. That's very loud for the show. Okay. See, look. There's Daryl.
Yep.
We're still here. We're still doing the thing. See him? You say hi?
Hi.
Can you wave?
Hi.
Hey, buddy. How's the rolling?
Good.
Good? Good. There's a
that
game.
Was our last 100 thumb game.
It was what?
That is the last 100 thumb game so far on the list.
That is the last 100 thumb game. There's a Luca, can you get me the bunny game? You know the bunny with the carrots? Can you go get it for me? The game with the bunny and the carrots? So he's rolling dice now, and he's understanding the number, right now it's a color, but he's rolling a die and it's got a color, and you got to like Candyland it to the next color. And then on that spot, there's a number, and you're supposed to pull carrots out of the box. It's a game by. This kid is amazing. Future Luca, you're really smart. So it's called Happy Bunny.
Oh, I know Happy Bunny.
This is another one of those companies that hasn't failed me. Blue Orange.
Yeah, Blue Orange does great, straightforward, quick, fun games.
But the game, this is totally off topic, but I just, because he was rolling dice and I wanted to show it off a little bit. There's a color die.
Yep.
Right there, right? And roll, and whatever color it is, you have your little bunny character and you have your little farmer character. Okay. And you start over here. And then when you roll the color die, just like Candyland, you go to the next color in this trail, and you want to get up to the end here. But what you land on, so let's say you rolled red. What is that red? Well, that's a shitty. Let's say you rolled that pink. That pink has a 3. Then you're pulling these carrots out of the box, and the number is how many carrots you get to pull. And they either are full without a bite, or nope.
Too good at pulling fulls.
They have a bite on them.
Sure.
Like right there.
Dang.
And then there's 2 different ways to play. The bites are more points, or you're actually lining them up, and whoever has the longest. But they're in the box. Like they're inside this thing. It really is cool. And he rocks it. Like he rolls, he goes to the thing, he knows what number he's got to pull. Like it's getting good.
Love it.
Good job, Blue Orange, for teaching my son how to roll dice and count. Sorry, now I can't put it back together. Yeah, I don't know anything about this game either.
Yeah, I don't either.
No.
I am curious about this. We just talked about Palomori.
Yep.
But it is a war game, and again, I'm just not a war game guy. So
command cards.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
the next one,
$60 for 20 minutes. I mean, this is euro too. 60 euro for potentially 20 minutes.
It's definitely not something I'd be buying off the hop. This I remember seeing. They're the ones that made Rebel Princess or whatever.
Yeah.
And they showed this last year that they're working on this to me. Zombie Paella. So they were very excited and proud of it. And I'm curious to see how it works out. The vibe, I'm not crazy about the vibe personally.
Oh, it's a 8.4. It looks like that Don't Starve game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure. But I need to tap out soon.
I read this as if it was an 8-hour game. Try and avoid the crowds and pack as much fun as you can in 8 hours. Like, whoa, wait, what? So how about this then? We just crossed over 100.
Yep.
What if we pick this up in a part 2?
Sure.
And go through the rest of this maybe next week.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. I mean, things will kind of change though, because I'm sure more of these will get thumbs, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, but you can kind of see-ish.
All right. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think we did good, but we can save some for we have more time before Essen.
There's a lot. We're only maybe a quarter of the way through this whole thing.
That's unreal.
And I didn't even load them all up. Like I'm still at. I mean, they start getting into like.
Yeah, we're talking under 20.
Yeah, 19.
Still, it's a thing. I mean, wow.
Sure. And it might have just been loaded up, so now it's not. Whatever. They might have just been added to the list, but there's still 150 that I haven't loaded onto this thing.
Some of these will go fast because they might duplicate. It might be demo only.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that. We'll pick this up from the 100 thumbs, or at least somewhere's around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Orange rocks. For sure. All right. So then we'll make this a part 1, and we'll go to a part 2. So do your like and subscribe thing while you're here if you haven't already, which I'm sure all of you already have. Luca, do you want to say bye? He's coming to say bye. You want to say bye? We came running to say bye to you. He doesn't normally do that. Good job. Say have a nice night.
Have a nice night.
Thanks.
What did you say?
Everyone have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around for 3 hours. This was fun. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, obviously. Hopefully your top 5 do's and don'ts don't get people mugged in some back alleyway.
Just within the convention center. Don't go to random alleys in Essen. Just in the convention center.
But Daryl said there was a sausage place down this alley.
Yeah, you gotta keep searching for the sausage. Oh no.
I love it. All right. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll set up either next week or the week after to go through the rest of the list. And right.
Yeah.
Seems like there should be a shirt coming out of this one. But yeah, have a good night. Be well, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. See y'all.